it's Wednesday, right? Guys, happy Wednesday. I'm still trying to decide where I should be on this camera. Yeah. I don't know why it seemed like it got reset a little bit, my landscape camera, but trying to fix that. Boom, guys, how we doing? I gotta get started over on TikTok. Oh, next week, just so you guys know, we're gonna switch over on topics and we will see how that goes for a little bit. Hopefully, if it goes well, we can maintain it because it is a more enjoyable topic. To me, at least. It's definitely a me thing. I'll be honest about that. Ugh. So much easier to edit placement. There we go. So much easier to edit placement in OBS. Hi, everybody, as you are coming in. Hello. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, yeah, so no, Brett, you're totally fine. Yeah, exactly, Joey, for that. No, don't do that. Don't do that, though. Chili says to pay to have someone banned. Is that our future? Pay to play and play right or get bumped? No, actually, I integrated it as and I've had it for a while. Just people don't use that opportunity. If I'm tired of somebody, I will just kick them myself. If I am over the way someone talks, I will just kick them myself. I have no qualms about that, right? But if there's someone that is truly just out of pocket, right? Like someone that's not worth it in any way, shape, or form, according to my listener base, then yes, this gives you guys some power to control part of the stream and the live. And that's the thought process on that one, Chili. You guys do not have to pay to play, right? This is just for fun if you want to get involved. Tis all. Oh, thanks, Katie. Yeah, no, if it's kind of like when I was doing my bit, for those that know, especially on the April Fools, when I did a little bit, I was playing as though I were MAGA. I couldn't keep up the conversation if I thought it was actually harmful towards communities, so I stopped it, right? I couldn't. I legitimately could not. So it's just yeah, Brett, that's fine. I also try to keep my own list, but that doesn't mean that I pay attention to it. So that doesn't mean I actually keep track in a good way. Hi, Corey. Hi, my good friend. All right, I need to do a couple of things. Hi, everyone, as you are coming in. Thank you so much for being here. We're getting this all set up. If you are a Trump voter, Republican voter, Trump supporter is what I really should say. Sorry about that. Republican supporter or a Republican voter upcoming because we are in an election year. Please, oh, please, oh, please call the number on the screen. Oh, Yemi, don't you realize that person is literally a bot at this point? So I trust zero things from that person. They don't listen to anything that's being talked about on the live. They say stupid stuff in video comments and they just say words. Yeah. Oh, Yemi, that's also the person that claimed at one point that they were trans and then never replied to y'all. I don't know if you remember that, Yemi. Okay, well, Tact, I didn't ask you why you voted for him. This is about your continued support for him, right? See, there's support is a much longer word than voted. So, well, I mean, only a letter or two. Wow. Red herring for 500 in the chat. They think I'm talking about them. Like, what? They have a, what's that? What is that called? It's not a victim complex, but it is, I know what I'm talking about. Let's see. Hey, Moose, there's a word. Yes, benign, you got it. Main character syndrome. Thank you. Persecution complex could also work. Yeah. Tact, you're not doing well. Okay. Thank you. You're not staying on point in any way, shape, or form. That doesn't say anything about support, so you're not doing well. Yeah. You're not doing well. That's all I gotta say on that one. But guys, we have stuff going on. So as you will see in the chats, we are trying to be a little bit more interactive with the chats. I've already been doing it, but it's just another thing that is also involved. So we will be doing this, right? So friendly reminder, and I can play the my little announcement at any point in time. But if you, hi Michelle, if you are ever tired of somebody in any one of the chats, you can pay to have any one of them timed out or muted. You can do, it's real easy, okay? $5 for the day for a full 24 hours, okay? You can do $20 for 7 days, and I mean 7 days, not how many days, like, I don't mean calendar days. I mean how many days I'm live. Hi, Sparky, you're early, okay? Or you can pay somebody to have them muted for an entire month for $50. I have a list of somebody that is muted for an entire month. Feel free to join in on that part. Unfortunately, we live in a capitalistic society, which means I am required to engage in capitalism in order to get by. It is a shitty thing to do. Everything that you contribute goes towards clearing off this vet fund. It'll also go towards the goal. All right. So if you want to help out, that's all you got to do. It can be over Super Chats. It can be over Buy Me a Coffee. It's a new thing that I started for those that are internationally around. Okay. So if you are international, yeah, that would be funny. I'd have to mute you for you, Moose. You can now do it directly through Buy Me a Coffee. Apparently that accepts international payments. So we have that. We have Cash App, Venmo, etc., etc., etc. So if you guys want to help contribute to that, feel free. Everything is helpful. Never expect it, always appreciate it. That is the phrase of my friend. Oh, thank you Thank you so much for the well diving. And I did not hear that at all. And I wonder why I didn't hear that at all. I need to click on that. Thank you, Ducks. Ducks sent 20, said for the pupper. Aw. You know, we'll put that towards Botsky being muted over there. So that's cool. Thank you. That's put towards the puppers. Or, well, for the cat, but yeah. And I'll buy you a solid cup of pero. Yeah, do it. Do it. Botsky can be muted for the day thanks to Ducks. W Ducks. It's just a matter of engaging in the chat. I know it's so hard to do that. Yeah. If you guys are watching over on YouTube, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. That is the best way to start pushing it out to people that want to call in and have conversations. If not, that's okay. I have a growing list of things that may or may not be new anymore. Thank you so much for Natty for the Electric Love song. I appreciate that. That may or may not be old news at this point because I build timelines and then I never have a chance to go through them. So, hey Michael, do me a favor, define the word that you use. Don't give an example, provide a definition. All right? I want you to do that, Michael. And for those that are in TikTok, you can't, nope, I don't do panels. I do not allow anyone up on the panel except for my own account. You are not allowed up on this panel because people on TikTok like to show body parts. I don't trust y'all motherfuckers. I don't trust any of y'all on TikTok unless I'm a mutual. That shit don't work here. So, yeah. We ain't doing anything with that stuff at all. So, okay. We're probably, I think in the future, it is definitely possible. I don't think it's possible right now in our current reality, like our current society and the way that it's made up. I said this last night, right? That I believe that we would have to break through and dismantle the indoctrination that we all, to be clear, every single person was indoctrinated in the way that they grew up in society by believing that capitalism is the way to go. And don't get mad at me, Bishop, for that opinion. I'm just saying it. All right? I'm just saying it. So. No, Yummy. How do you mean that question? Mods cannot be timed out for that amount. If a Republican truly wanted to not see one of my moderators in the chat anymore, right? Truly wanted to. I highly doubt that they would ever do it because I've had this option forever and they've never once done it. Okay? In order for me to time out and remove someone's mod powers for the day, it is $50. So. No one's ever done it yet. So it's just out there more as a haha joke. Ain't nobody gonna do it. I doubt it, at least. So it's out there more of a joke. Calvary, you get to mute them for... Thank you, Sean. Yep, you're welcome to mute her for the next 24 hours. So they get to be muted today and tomorrow. That's how that works. Boop. Thank you, Chris, for the 2. So we'll go ahead and knock that down. So see how you guys can engage in a little bit of capitalism is Calvary just paid to mute somebody for today and tomorrow. So we'll add that down since I go live on Thursdays. Oh, tomorrow they probably won't show up though. So that is the 29th. Cool beans. Sweet. That's how that works. All right. But let's see here. We do have a couple of things. Oh, so for those that weren't in my live last night, I don't know if you saw it or not, but the United States is now conducting joint... Oh, thank you, Golden God, for the 10 as well. Joint strikes in Iraq on Iranian suspected sites. So, we're attacking Iraq again. Oh, I think you're good, Taylor. I know, right, Brett? Like, if they want to pay to mute you, you're welcome to. No, specifically right now, Super Shadow, I'm looking for Trump supporters or Republicans. Okay. Hi, how are you?
Hello?
Hi.
I'm very good. How are you doing?
Doing well. How old are you for terms of service?
I'm 40.
40. And are you still supporting the Republican Party?
No, I'm not supporting any party anymore. I'm just disgusted with all of them. But I did vote for Trump this last time.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted a better cost of living, wanted people that shouldn't be here that have criminal records to not be here anymore. I wanted no more wars. I wanted us to not be funding foreign countries that just continue to commit genocide or, continue to just do whatever they want while continuing to try to maintain some sort of altruistic motives.
Gotcha. So are you voting in this year's midterms?
No, my options up here are Susan Collins. Susan Collins has been there forever.
She's
And
not
there's
your only
people that have been
option.
there
I
forever.
believe
Well,
the guy that is now there, he used to be a state representative for y'all. Troy something, New
I
Democrat.
see. I moved up here 6 years ago, and I
Yes.
wasn't really familiar with these people. I just know that Susan Collins has
Troy
been there
Jackson.
forever. The people that have been there
She has been.
forever are the ones that are have put our country on the path that it's on and continues to be on. I want them to stop spending so much money. $39 trillion in debt with a dollar that's down 90% in 45 years is a death blow to the country.
Okay. Well, how do you expect to change anything if you are not voting and you're not, let's just say, fighting for a revolution?
Well, I was going to vote for Graham Plattner. And then suddenly, right when they're at the last minute to announce who the candidate will be for the midterms, all of a sudden he can't be there because there's some grand conspiracy about him and his past, which may or may not be true. I don't know. Don't have all the facts, but the facts that we did get weren't too specific. And
Hmm.
it was funny. I thought to myself, wow, it's amazing that this guy is kind of against APAC and things like that. And all of a sudden there's a scandal. He's out. And
Oh, his
now they're
scandal
putting
had
somebody else in our
existed?
face.
His scandal had existed before the claim of a sexual assaults allegation. And that was with his derogatory remarks on Reddit that he even acknowledged that he said. And a lot of those feelings don't just go away as quickly as he claimed. And so you can believe it or not.
And that's a no, that is a valid argument. I didn't look into it that much.
Mm,
It sounds like you know more about it than I do, but it's like I everyone that says the right things either just gets with the program that they already have in place or they get thrown out. It's just it's really disillusioning
that's not true.
and it's bullshit.
That's not true that they just get thrown out, right? Because
Thomas Massey, MTG, like
oh,
the
Thomas
only people that
Massey and
were actively
MTG,
talking
yeah,
against.
that's separate, right? I sorry. That's a
Well,
little
yeah,
bit different. It's a little bit different on the Republican Party because right now the Republican Party has been taken over by the MAGA movement, and what they're doing right now is just being sycophants for Donald Trump. And that's significantly different than what you see and the changes that you see occurring within the Democratic Party. And I will make that significant line to be drawn there and that they are different.
oh no, I agree completely. They are
Okay.
different. They're different sets of circumstances. They're different in many different ways, but it's also one of those. It was just the first example that kind of came to mind is how many interesting things are happening,
Mm-hmm.
surrounding all the parties. I was saying back when Trump first got elected and he first won that for the Democrats to be viable moving forward, because I was banking on the assumption that like our president and his and our constituents would be making good choices Like, I wound up saying, like, the perfect Reform Party candidate would be someone like John Fetterman, where, like, he seems to be kind of in the middle. He's kind of charismatic, and he's willing to make an unpopular choice and vote with his conscience, appearingly at least, but, now he's getting pushed out. It seems like the Democrats and the Republicans right now, rather than
Oh, that's
go at each
because
other's throats, are just eating each other.
John Fetterman ran against everything that he's now voting for. There's a significant difference there. He campaigned almost polar opposites in a lot of the things that he's now voting for. There is a significant difference. He literally turned around and did a 180. And I can't even blame Pennsylvanians for voting for him because, well, it was either him or Dr. Oz, and Dr. Oz is a quack. So,
I mean, honestly, at this point, I don't think anybody gets rich and famous without doing some diabolical stuff. And Dr. Oz is right up there with them, with all the rest of them. And it sucks, but I mean, it is what it is. Honestly, most
okay.
of the people I know, everyone I know, we all work for a living. We all work every single day. We don't have disposable income to just screw off or anything like that. And all of us are just fed up with all of it and disgusted by all of it. And it doesn't really matter what side you're on.
Cool.
Everyone is just sick of it all.
Let me ask this again. How are you proposing to fix it if you are not willing to vote?
Honestly, I'm not looking to fix it. I'm just waiting for the revolution or World War III to kick off, because then none of this is going to matter. It'll be one of those situations where the people that stream or podcast or whatever, they don't even have jobs because the internet's down, and it's going to be chaos if that's what happens. But it seems like that's the direction everybody's hell-bent on going. I feel like we're watching satanic human sacrifice in real time with all these wars.
All right. Oh, I didn't even drop him. I just look over and he's gone. I guess he said his part and decided to drop. Just like, yeah, if you want to support, well, see, that's not even accelerationist in my opinion, Yemi. Because it's like, yes, you want to see this happen, but to me, an accelerationist is somebody that actually advocates for it happening and does something to encourage it happening. So, like all the people that say that I voted for Donald Trump to display the truth behind America, and I knew he was going to tear apart the government of the United States as we know it. And I might be wrong on that, but that's what I consider accelerationism to involve, right? Because it's not just, I want this to happen, it's working towards it. At least that's my opinion on that one. Yeah, sitting on the sidelines waiting for a victor. Also, guys, real quick, let's get a couple of W's in the chat. We have W for Natty, for the gifts over on TikTok, and then we have had the W's for Chris and the W's for Duck for the 20. And we also had W's for Bishop, and I'm missing one other person as well aside from Calvary. Golden. W's from Golden as well. There we go. We got a bunch of W's to give, so thank you guys so much for helping support the platform. It helps me continue to do this every day. So let's see. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing well. How old are you for terms of service?
I'm 36.
36. And are you still supporting Trump or the Republican Party?
I'm definitely supporting Donald Trump.
Okay. What's he done so far to earn your support?
He's killing all those nigger Muslims.
Yeah, we figured that was going to happen. You called it, Lynatti. Sucks to be you. I was prepared for people being gross. And then yes, Bishop, I know. Bishop said I am all for regulated market capitalism. I'm just more conservative in your approach. Exactly. I do agree with that. Yeah, I don't know why they think that that's a thing they should do. It's so boring. Can you guys can you get a new shtick? Can you get a new shtick, please? Yes, Christopher. He's doing great. Like, figure out something else to say. You know what I mean? That is also true, yeah. The caller is banned, and we do not condone racism. Thank you for that advice. I never even thought about that. Thank you, Dylan. Yeah, statement so the AI moderation system doesn't slap me. Yeah, we kicked them immediately. They are banned. They're no longer on here. We don't condone racism, so be gone with you. Hello, everybody. All right, we've got someone there. Let's see. I know I went over this, so we're going to mark this down. So I asked this question in a video and I didn't get any answers, okay? So I want to kind of reiterate this, okay? So what I hear as talking points from the right is mostly centered around that Trump is doing great, everything he's doing is great, and he can't do anything wrong, right? Like he deserves all the credit. Not that he can't do anything wrong, but he deserves all the credit. But also when Republicans are pressed on like, okay, great, what's going great? How is it going great? How is he helping said thing, right? With the economy or whichever one it is. And they just go, well, the economy's doing bad because of Joe Biden. It's all Joe Biden's fault, and it's none of it is Trump's fault. That's eventually where we get to going. So can you guys square that circle? It's either that we're doing great because it's Trump and he deserves all the credit because everything's going fantastic under his term, or it's because of Joe Biden. Like which one are we going with? I mean, I'll give you an example, right? Because we have people that do this all the time. One that works for this administration, right? And so we're just going to put this up. Just remember, you guys are only going to hear it over on TikTok. Also, speaking of, okay, so here we go.
Up to speed pretty quickly, and now we're back out at the podium.
Well, speaking of the midterms, we know the tradition. The party that has the White House typically has an uphill battle for the midterms. And when you look at the top issue among voters right now, it seems to be the cost of living. So what steps have been taken by the White House to really address that? Because that's going to be important as we head towards November.
Yeah. Well, the president and the White House, we fully recognize that. And I would remind your viewers and the American people of who caused the affordability crisis in this country. It was Joe Biden and it was the Democrats in this city when they were in power. And President Trump took immediate action on day one to fix that with his overall economic formula of tax cuts, deregulation, and energy dominance. That's what
It's all Joe Biden's fault, guys. It's all Joe Biden's fault. Never forget, it's literally all his fault, okay? Says Caroline Leavitt and the rest of this administration, so therefore it must be true. Am I right? Am I right, guys? Hi, how are you?
I am good, ma'am. Thank you for accepting my call.
No problem. How old are you for terms of
Um,
service?
I am 37, 38. I was born in the 80s, so it's hard to keep track sometimes.
Okay.
Um, the thing that I was curious about was, um, how did we get to where we were? And I wanted your opinion on some subject matter. Um, During the Obama era, particularly around 2011, 2012, when we moved from being a workers' party to moving into basically corporate welfare. Um, we went from defending the populace to basically siding with those that oppress the populace. Particularly what I'm talking about is the financial bailouts where they forcibly consolidated local banks and American banks and then used taxpayers' money to force those banks into selling to international banking. And then we did things like bail out the automotive industry, like GM. They were able to file for bankruptcy and then basically cancel all of their employee contracts, such as like,
Yeah, I
retirement,
guess that would be
medical
okay for
benefits,
you to
things.
go down this spiel, except for the fact that the government didn't force any banks to merge with anybody else. That happened
Yeah,
before, like even the forced mergers that were occurring were because they were forced to do it. Otherwise, they were going to become
so,
solvent,
so
right? So that's something different. It
right,
was not even talking about like them being forced to do it by a president, which it actually occurred in 2008, which George Bush was the president in 2008.
which I,
So
yeah,
that's still not true with
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, insolvent. Thank you, Amy.
All right, I'm
So,
sorry. I'm sorry if I'm misinformed on certain parts of the matter. That's why I was asking your opinion on it. But like, it seems that there was also a escalation in force in foreign policy. Particularly, the thing that upset me was the incident with Anwar al-Awlaki, a 16-year-old American citizen that was, killed in a Syrian cafe with 30 other Syrian, civilians that were non-combatants, including his mother, who was an American civilian. And when they drone strike a cafe that was having a funeral procession,
yep.
and mind
And
you,
Obama apologized, and we had to pay restitution.
well,
So
no, that's something you're misunderstanding. Is he didn't apologize, and the defense minister Alston Goolsbee at the time, when asked about it, said that he should have had better parents. It's the fact that there's been this escalation in going from being a representative party that collectively helps the worker and then goes to help out corporations or bigger, scale funding, and then moves into the the defense apparatus where they're willing to do things on foreign soil for the benefit of corporations rather than the benefit of the people. And I'm curious what's your take on how we got to where we're like buddying up with Sam Altman-Fried and where we're like bailing out GM, where they're
I don't know
able
where
to
you're going with
basically.
this. Sorry, you're just
I'm
yapping, and
I'm
I don't
sorry. I'm
know
sorry.
where you're trying to go
I'm a
with
little all
this.
over the place. I'm sorry. I'm a little all over the place, but
Yeah, and
I'm
if
saying
you
that
like, if
there
people
was.
are expecting me to, I don't know, defend Obama, because sorry, I misheard you
I'm not
saying
asking you
Syria,
to
and I thought it
defend
was going to be the
Obama.
hostages in Pakistan.
No, no,
I'm
no, no,
not
no, no, no,
going
no.
to do it because Obama absolutely committed war crimes. So fuck off, my guy, with that shit. So, but you're
Yeah.
like going back between talking about banks to talking about the Iraq Afghanistan wars and just going all over the map. Can you pick a
I'm
lane?
sorry.
And
I'm sorry.
also, do you
I'll keep
support
it
the
on. I'll keep it
Republicans
on the
or
financial
Trump?
side.
Do you
No,
support?
no, no, no. I
Oh,
actually
okay.
didn't support either party. I worked my way
Do
up
you
very
vote?
highly in the security apparatus.
I
The only time I ever voted was when I was 19 and deployed to
mm,
Afghanistan as an absentee voter. I voted for Obama because he was the only candidate that was claiming to end the forever wars, and I stood behind that. And then I watched basically there was a shift in the party itself to where they went against a bunch of their values,
All
particularly
right,
the
cool.
financial stuff, the war stuff, things of
Dude,
that nature. And
dude,
and I'm just curious your take on
dude.
how we progressively got to where we're at.
Yeah, how do I know? I don't know, dude. I couldn't tell you. But do you have any plans to vote in the midterms that are coming up in November?
Yes, I'm trying to find as many centrist party members, libertarian or green party or
Mm,
alternatives,
voting
because
third party doesn't
I
help
feel,
anybody. Voting third
well,
party
I
doesn't help anybody.
understand that.
No, you don't.
I know.
What's the
I
I
know,
hate to be
but
this person, but what's the color of your skin?
I'm actually mixed race. I am Native American, black, and there is some white mixed in,
Okay.
roughly,
What's the
in
color
a
of your
couple
skin?
generations.
That's
Well,
I asked you a very
it would be
specific
red,
question.
ma'am. It would be red because I'm predominantly of the Cherokee Nation. I'm a card-holding member of the Cherokee Nation.
Awesome.
I'm an active, yeah.
But if somebody walked by you, they would assume that you're white.
No, no, no. I, unfortunately, no. I grew up in the deep South and had a lot of racial experiences where I basically had to go to, as a young child, go to white-only establishments and go and get my food at the back of the restaurant. I've almost been lynched by the Klan as a young child, and like I promise you, they do not consider me white of any
Mm,
form. I know
okay.
I'm speaking in a more proper term now, but for a majority of my life, I spoke in basically slang and had a very hard Southern drawl, so I taught myself how to speak more properly. It's unfortunate, but I had to learn how to code switch so that I could integrate into the society or into the upper echelons of the government that I was working for.
All right. Well, if I'm wrong and you don't present as white, then my apologies. I can't speak for your experience, but I'm going to be so for real on something. The third parties,
Mhm.
and I've said this many a times on my stream, they do not stand a chance when it comes to the election because corporate lobbying is allowed. Money is rampant in our political system right now. If you are not looking at, and you do have to look at major party tickets, the third party has near zero chance in being elected in. So, and I say this for everybody, okay? I don't care if you vote Republican, I don't care if you vote Democrat, but if you're going to look for people to vote and you want to start having a chance to start voting for a third party in the future, we have to get Citizens United overturned. We have to get the recent SCOTUS RNC decision overturned. We have to change the FEC rules. We have to change
I
the
wholeheartedly
presidential debate
agree.
rules. You're not going to get that with voting third party. So, unless you're looking
I
for candidates on their campaign pledges that they are going to try to get these things overturned with legislation, and you're not voting for a main party ticket, then you're not only doing yourself a disservice, you're doing everyone around you a disservice and everyone in the country a disservice. For people that are politically homeless, like myself and like yourself, that don't align with either party and would love to have a third party candidate, you have to look for people that are actually willing to advocate for the things that are going to make a third party candidate a viable option. In the last election, they didn't even get 1.5% of the vote collectively. They
I
didn't even get they didn't
well,
even get 2%
yeah,
of the vote
yeah, you're
collectively.
wholeheartedly right, ma'am.
I
You're
know
wholeheartedly
because
right.
they couldn't get it
I
anywhere. So
well, I
voting third
genuinely wish
party,
we had
unless it's
more
at your
options.
local lower level, is useless at
Oh
a
yeah, that's one that I'm particularly adamant about is like vote whatever helps you locally, because I believe that if we start locally, we grow out into like the federal. I genuinely believe that what you need to do is focus on local areas, focus on the thing, like whatever candidate does the best for you in a local election that will benefit you overall, regardless of party line, would be the candidate you need to align yourself with.
right. I'm saying on the federal stage, though, when you're voting, you unfortunately have to vote for a main party ticket.
Um, Well, my issue is neither one of the main parties seems to be very representative of us as a populace and tends to be whatever lobbying or what the thing you brought up, like the super PACs, the 501(c)(k)s, or whatever it's called, the things that allow basically people to mass funnel like a ton of funds under the guise of a super PAC without having to reveal that they're donating to a particular party. I think that's something that we need to work
Yeah,
on.
you can find that on
basically.
opensecrets.org. You can find everybody
Oh,
who donates to people on opensecrets.org. They have websites for this if you want to research that. But since you
Thank
are
you.
going to vote in the third
Thank you.
party, awesome. Be sure to be looking this stuff up. FEC.gov is a great resource for our federal campaign donations that you can view those too. But I'm going to move on to somebody that is either a Republican or supports Trump.
All right, I do appreciate that. I'm very appreciative of you accepting my call. Thank you for the information. It did inform me on a few things, and I
No problem.
appreciated the discussion. You have
Thank
a
you.
wonderful day.
You too. It's just money out of politics. That's what we have to do. All right, guys. W Feisty for the 5. She said, love you. So we love that as well. Woohoo. Thanks, Feisty. We love you too. Alrighty then. As you guys can see in the chat, my mods are reminding you of the rules. Also, W Hector Raiders, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. If you guys are annoyed with people in the chat that are just spam, acting like they're bots or something like that, my chat is reminding you how, my moderators are reminding you how you can get rid of them too. All right. And also on TikTok, hold on. Oh, Hector, I'm good today. Hi, how are you?
Doing good.
Awesome. How old are you for terms of service?
34.
34. And you're still supporting Trump?
Yep.
Awesome. What's Trump done so far to earn your continued support?
Starting in the beginning.
No, just so far,
created-
like right now, this term.
No.
We don't need to go all the way back to the beginning of time.
I was
That'd be
going to
kind of
start
silly.
at the beginning of this term.
Oh, okay. Because, I mean, starting
Sorry.
back at the beginning, that sounds like I'm going back in time. I ain't doing
yeah,
that.
No. 0 BC. I do, but no, just kidding. So,
was actually
beginning of this term, 2024 or 2025 early, he created the, like, whatever task force with the Elon and the young guys or whatever. I know that seems like 300 years ago, but I do believe if we were spending money on some of the most random things, and I know there were all like a nickel and dime here and there, but a nickel and dime to the government's like $100 million to $8 million. I believe that like those kind of things didn't need to be funded if they're, one, not directly helping United States citizens or like protecting assets.
Listen, I'm not going to disagree that some of the things that Doge was sorry, not Doge, USAID was spending money on probably wasn't necessary. I can't even argue that. Some of the things though were necessary to prevent diseases from entering into the United States because they're communicable diseases, which means they get carried by people. And if one person travels to the US, that's how that comes here. Kind of like what happened, with previous pandemics, like the Spanish flu is a good example. It travels with people as communicable diseases. So that work would be great. And now we have an Ebola outbreak that they have. Gosh, I wish I could remember what country it's in. But they had all of the vaccinations for Ebola in a warehouse to help them. Right? The treatments for Ebola in a warehouse. And because the USAID was shut down, that stuff got burned. It didn't get sold. It didn't get relocated. It got burned, set on fire because Doge dismantled USAID, and instead of trying to sell the product anywhere, they're like, we'll just get rid of it and set it on fire. Or instead of giving it to people that needed it, we'll just set it on fire, because that makes sense. Instead of trying to get any of the money back, we're just going to destroy the product so nobody can use it. Doge
No, that's
and the
definitely terrible.
yeah, well, thank you, Elon Musk, because that was their policy, right? Thank you, Elon Musk, and fucking Vivek Ramaswamy, who was there for 2.5 seconds. He wasn't really
Yeah, I was
involved.
about to say, Vivek decided he would want to go get elected somewhere else.
Thank you, Dean.
Um,
Ebola happened in the Congo. Yeah, that's why.
oh yeah, I was remembering that from the
Mhm.
Middle Africa. But at the same time, so you have your hiccups, you have your issues. Of course, they're trying to come in with a chainsaw to fix something that should be done with a little bit more of a scalpel, but no one else was going to do it. There was not going to be anyone trimming. Everyone loves spending money. They don't love saving money. So that's one of the solutions. I was like, okay, I'll support that. And then moving on past them burning Ebola vaccines, which is terrible. Once again, I give you that. The next big thing I would say was I think the wonderfully named Big Beautiful Bill, just like what is it called? It was the last bill before the Big Beautiful one. It was the Inflation Reduction Act. Everything does exactly what it says it's going to be. But with the Big Beautiful Bill, there were definitely good parts in that bill that I supported fully. I think even some of the Democrats can't deny they supported parts of it. They just hated the fact that it was attached to Trump, and it had
Like
some
what?
things they didn't like also. But
Like what?
the no tax on tips and stuff that Democrats themselves
That was a Bernie
were talking
Sanders and
about.
Elizabeth Warren policy. They voted on this separate bill that was introduced into Congress prior to being tied into the HR 1, aka the One Big Beautiful Bill, the omnibus bill, where they absolutely did approve that bill. The reason, like, you're aware of the expiration date on those credits, or sorry, the deductions, right?
Unfortunately, that everything seems to have like, here, we want
Are
another
you
election.
gonna?
We want to win an election about it. So that's why they
Oh
put
no,
those.
it expires after the next presidential election would even occur.
Yeah, but it's still something they can run on because no one solves problems in the government. They just like to kind of push it to the next election.
Gotcha.
And
Are
push
you
it to
going
the
to
next
hold
cycle.
your Republican representatives to the feet to the fire when they don't vote to renew no tax on tips and no tax on overtime under the next president?
If they don't vote the continuation of the bill, then yeah, I'll hold their feet to the fire the same way that I would hold the Democrats to the same fire.
Right,
Because
right.
everybody
The
does the same
Democrats who have
thing.
been introducing those bills as separate funding bills to change the tax law since 2012 that the Republicans vote against every single time, so that it's only left committee a handful of times because the Republicans vote it down in the committees. Yeah. That makes sense.
It works both ways. The Democrats vote everything down.
Oh yeah. Tell me
Republicans want to make
Republican
permanent too.
tell me what Republican prior to 2024, when Donald Trump started running on it, what Republican introduced no tax on tips, no tax on overtime?
I couldn't tell you because honestly, no one was very vocal about it, and it never made anyone. Never got anyone's attention.
Oh, Bernie Sanders campaigned on it in 2016, and so did Elizabeth Warren. So that's not true.
And
it definitely got attention.
Then Trump
you
actually got it done. So who are we going to give the credit to? The person that got it done, or the person that introduced it a long time ago?
Sure. No, we give credit to the person whose idea it was originally, which actually was Rand Paul's father. Because that was from 2012. Oh no, he wasn't Republican. He was a staunch libertarian. See, there's a difference. He never held office in Congress, but that was his original idea that Rand Paul never even picked up, not even once in his entire campaign or his political life. Very interesting. But immediately afterwards, it was picked up by Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. They are the only ones who ever actually introduced legislation into Congress to try to do something for it. And then Donald Trump likes to say, oh, it's my idea, it's my great idea. And I will give him the smallest modicum of credit for having gotten it done, except for the fact it would have been better if it wasn't at the detriment of 2.4 million American citizens being removed from SNAP, WIC benefits being cut, Medicaid, Medicare being cut with this administration. So no, like I'll give him the
Why
teeniest
were they
modicum of
cut,
credit.
or were they just,
Yeah,
or
the
were
funding
they
was cut.
had requirements to actually meet?
Nope,
Like
funding was
working
also cut.
part-time,
Funding
like
was
actually
also
trying to
cut.
get things done.
Funding was also cut.
Because if you decide to actually make people work towards getting off of
Funding
credit,
was also cut.
funding was cut.
Yeah.
Because if you're actually going to make sure that people doing it, and you know that's going to make sure people
I don't know
get
if
on
you
it,
realize
by
this or
being-
not, but I believe it's 83% of all adults that are receiving SNAP on behalf of their kids, or whether it's for themselves, or whether it's for they're taking care of an elderly or a disabled person in the home, 83% of them work. And
So
they
what
are
about the other
surpassed,
20,
they surpass,
17 people?
they surpass,
17%.
I'm literally still in the middle of talking.
Sorry.
Thank you. They surpass the requirements because they've always been working. Whereas 87% of all households that are receiving SNAP have someone that is incapable of working. 1.3 million people on SNAP are veterans of our United States military, people that are disabled, and they've also, some of them have lost access to their SNAP benefits because they are disabled, but not with the new rules that were implemented. They're no longer considered disabled, and now they're being forced to work or volunteer in order, sorry, I don't think volunteer hours were qualified for SNAP. That's for other things. So we're removing access to SNAP benefits to help feed our veterans, our disabled individuals who literally cannot work. Do you expect somebody that is blind to be able to work?
No, but at the same time, I'm not sure that all of the restrictions don't include some exceptions. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know there are some exceptions
Yeah,
to those rules.
that's
and
why
those
we know
requirements.
that's why we know that people have had their SNAP benefits greatly reduced, which they did that so to discourage people from continuing to apply for it, because I don't know if you realize this, but they have to. Oh, Johnny, that's not even what I'm saying. Good job trying to do that. Anyways, so they are making people reapply to renew their SNAP every single month, right? So they are paperworking people to hell and back to make them prove that these things are still accurate, and they're checking off the boxes for these things, right? Even though SNAP in the States already know when somebody switches jobs. If you switch a job while you're on SNAP benefits, they ask you to update it. They get an alert. They ask you to resend your information, resubmit your W-2s, and anything like that. All of these things occur. It is a well-regulated machine already.
You're sure? Because I do believe there was a lot of fraud in that exact same
Less than 5%,
SNAP
and what
benefits.
less than 5% was, quote, fraud. And actually what they found it to be was either states overpaying people or states underpaying people. No actual people that were, like, I think it was less than 1% of people receiving those benefits were actually, quote, defrauding the system.
At
And
the
yet we
same time,
kicked
for the
off
fact that the
10%.
government
Sorry, we kicked off
subsidizes
5%
your
of
food,
people off it.
with the government, oh snap, people, with the government being the one that actually is subsidizing your food, the requirements for it, and then the excessive paperwork. I'm sorry, excessive paperwork. What we pay for your food.
Oh, you don't pay for
That
their
doesn't
food,
seem
sir.
like it. Working 40
I
hours
guess
to pay for my food
here's
seems
my
tough.
thing. No, here's my thing. I don't even think that food should come at a price. Food is a human right. You need it to live.
Oh, you think the farmers should get like
Nope,
nothing
not what I
for
said either.
cooking the food?
Nope,
making the
not
food?
what I say either. Nope, not what I said either. Access to food is
You're
a
going
human
to
right.
enslave them?
Nope. I'm saying the consumer shouldn't have to pay for it. Access to food is a human right because you need it to
No.
survive. No, it
A
is.
human right is something that you don't have to require someone to do work for.
No, that's not
So,
even the close to the
pursuit of
definition of a
happiness
human
and stuff
right.
like that.
No. Oh yeah, pursuit of happiness. That's in the Constitution. Yeah. Absolutely. Access to food is
The
a human
right
right.
to a doctor's
You can't
work is
you
not.
can't
Guaranteed.
I'm so sorry. Can you pursue happiness if you're starving?
No, but that's
Oh,
you.
you
That's not anyone
can't.
else.
Got it. So great. Even per our own constitution, when we're talking about access to
The
food
pursuit
and
of
the
happiness is
pursuit
not a
of
right, though.
happiness, you are now acknowledging that you actually can't pursue happiness if you are somebody that is facing food insecurity or you're actively going through starvation and issues with hunger, right? So I'm
Is the pursuit
glad
of
that
happiness in the Bill
we
of
could
Rights?
get there with you. I'm
Is
so
the
glad
pursuit of
that we
happiness
could
in the
get
Bill
there
of Rights?
with you, okay? I'm so
Sorry,
glad we could get there with you. Real quick, guys. Guys, a couple of things here if you want to support the live. Sorry, he's on mute. He can't hear me. But if you guys want to support the live or if you want to get rid of him, because I love people saying that people shouldn't be able to eat, because that's great. I love people that do that kind of thing. Please help support the live through direct donations or through super chats. You can kick a guess for just $50. Or if you guys want to light up on TikTok, one of the big gifts in the gift gallery, we'll take that as a drop. So why isn't having access to food, why should that not be considered a human right?
Because that requires somebody else's work, and you cannot enslave people.
God, that's not enslavement.
No, it isn't.
I don't.
How?
So now we have to go through and what? I bet Austin, you really like capitalism, right?
It's the only word. It's the worst. It's the best of the worst ways to live.
Cool. Capitalism yoinked you. W Sparky. Here's my thing. Oh yes, that was in fact condescension at that point. I agree. That was me being condescending. Gotcha. So what a human right actually is, it's not something like what he said that doesn't require, like if it can't be a human right if it requires someone else's labor, right? That's not what that is, okay? A human right is access, right? Or it's the basic rights and freedoms that would belong to every single person simply for being a human being and what they need to survive, right? So when I'm saying food is a human right, you need it to survive. Water, access to water is a human right. You need it to survive. Healthcare is a human right. You need it to survive. I love people that are like, human rights aren't real. Funny, because other countries can do it. Other countries can do it. My dog keeps seeing another dog outside, and she's like, it's coming to get you, mama. See it and stay, okay, mamas? Thank you. Oh, they always do. Yeah, they always say that. She's so cute. Hi, how are you? Hello? Hello? Okay. You get 20 seconds, and then I'm moving on to the next person. Hi, how are you?
Hi. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to say beforehand, just in case, because I don't want to like waste your time. I'm not a Trump supporter. I am left leaning, but I'm like a newer voter, and I have some conflicting feelings about like the Democratic Party.
Okay. I mean, if you want to make it quick for me, because
it may just be because I haven't been in the world that long, so I haven't like felt certain effects of certain policies and stuff. but to me, it personally feels like the Democrats don't like, Republicans do actively make things worse. I will say that. And that's
hmm
pretty obvious. But with the Democrats, it doesn't feel like they do enough to either rectify whatever bad is done during the whatever Republican administration that preceded them,
Mm,
or they don't do like they don't do enough.
cool.
I'm, I'm
I think I
I've
understand what
lost my
you're
train of
saying. You're fine. Are you familiar with the process in Congress?
Yes, somewhat, maybe not like to the extent where, um, maybe not to like the extent that same extent that you are, but I do
Okay.
know, I think the basics.
We'll try it this way real quick too.
Okay.
If you break a coffee mug with a sledgehammer, you would say that that's pretty easy to do, right? Take a sledgehammer and
Yeah.
break a coffee mug.
Yeah.
How difficult would it be to put it back together?
It would be somewhat difficult depending on the size and how bad it was smashed.
Yes, great. So when you're looking at Congress, right, and we know that House is much easier to get things done in because it requires a simple majority vote, even if
Yeah.
it's 209 to 208, the majority wins in the House of Representatives. Cool, fine, whatever. Almost anything
Mhm.
can get passed through there. The
Yeah.
Senate has different rules, right? And the Senate has these rules because it is acknowledging the fact that there are states that still voted in what you could consider the minority party in Congress at the time, but their constituents earn a voice as well. So if we have, let's just say, a Democratic majority, but that majority
Mhm.
is 54 to 46, but we have legislation, specific types of legislation that require a 60 vote threshold majority, and the Republicans vote against it, how are the Democrats supposed to fix the broken coffee mug that's shattered by the sledgehammer?
Fair enough. I just, I don't know. Again, it's probably because I am still trying to learn because for like most of my life I was either non-political or I was right wing, but I have since learned a lot more. I just I worry that sometimes it just feels like no matter what I choose, it's just going to be like nothing's going to change in the end.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a defeatism, which I mean, I understand to a degree, um, because it does, unfortunately, it happens and it will continue to happen. I just personally don't think, and for someone as deeply involved in politics as I am, I have so many news apps on my phone that I pay attention to heavily. Um,
Yeah.
so you just have to try not to get discouraged. And I trust me when I say I know that it can be very discouraging to read the things that are going out there, what's happening, the results of legislation, the results of executive orders, and all of
Mhm.
these things, right?
And it's like, yeah, I do get that because I have, for example, like trans friends that I hear about how they're constantly affected by just people who don't care about anyone else but themselves. And I also see, from like my family's perspectives and stuff, I don't really come from the most privileged family.
Mm-hmm.
We've always been pretty poor. And in some points of my family, I do have like my great grandfather who was a Native American. He had to deal with a lot of like really terrible stuff too. And it always like, I want, it feels like it does. There are legislations that do make things better, but it still feels like nothing much has changed.
Yep, because
It's
once
all just
something, yeah, so
go
part
ahead.
of it is just going to be like breaking something is a lot easier than putting it back together. And
Mm,
if we're acknowledging that the Republicans are breaking parts of the system, you're going to have to give, and this can be true for the Republicans that are going to be the naysayers in the chat and say it's the Republicans breaking or the Democrats breaking them, whichever way you want to
yeah,
slice that apple.
yeah, I
There,
do, and again, like I don't. Oh, sorry, were you talking?
no, I
I'm
took a
sorry.
long pause. You don't have to
Oh,
apologize in this case.
I'm sorry.
Um, they're working within the constraints that they are allowed to work within to
Mm,
get things done, but it takes a lot more effort to fix something than it does to break it. And what you're
yeah,
looking for when you're going to vote at the ballot box, hey Millie, is going to be for harm reduction.
yeah. I live in Texas and stuff, so
Yeah.
and that also frustrates me because I have to deal with. I live in like a smaller town,
Hmm.
so it's just all kind of like it's pretty rough because there's a lot of conservatives out here, and even some of my family are, and the ones that really aren't are mostly centrists, which also kind of like make me annoyed, but it's kind of rough.
Okay.
I guess if I lived in a better area and stuff, I think I would see a lot of these effects like more, but I don't, sadly.
I would definitely suggest that in your midterms you vote for James Tallarico.
Okay. Yeah, I have seen him. He seems like a pretty cool guy. I
Yeah.
just really hope he doesn't turn out to be not a very good person.
No, I have more faith in him not doing that because he's already showed his body of work in your Texas
Yeah,
state legislator. So,
yeah. Also, I feel like pretty much anyone would be better than half the people we have in like our
yeah.
governor and our. I do not like Abbott. I do not like Abbott at all.
Yeah, isn't he up for election this year too?
I have no idea. I
Let's
hear
see.
some stuff about it, and I wouldn't be
Glenn
surprised if he
Douglas
was, but I
Gray.
don't know if he can run again.
Oh, he can. They don't have term limits.
Oh, they don't? Oh,
Yeah, your state doesn't have term limits. Yes, he is up for re-election
ah,
this cycle. But yeah, they don't. Unfortunately,
great.
Texas doesn't have term limits on your gubernatorial race. It's great.
Cause I thought they did, but
No,
mm.
they don't. They
I
have
thought it was kind of a
vacancies.
thing that
Mm-mm.
almost every government position had.
Oh no, we wish.
Yeah. But thank you anyways for talking to me and, helping me kind of work through this stuff.
Yeah, no problem.
But thank you. Have a good stream. Bye.
You too. Bye. Have a good day, I should say. All right. Nah. Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Doing great. How old are you for terms of service?
36.
36. So I'm a little bit confused why you called in if you do not vote.
Is this the host?
Yes.
I was just curious, like, because you said earlier to the last caller that you're heavily into the politics. So I was curious to see how many years you've been into politics, because I've voted in years past, but.
how many years I've been into politics and what degree, I guess.
Like you say that you're big into following all of what everybody does as far as Congress and all the voting and the presidency, and I was just
Mm-hmm.
wondering how long you've been following that. Like, is this something that you've been years in, or is this something that you're new in?
Deeply
or...
invested in about the last 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Are you planning
So
on
then I guess
voting in your upcoming midterms or no?
midterms, no.
Why?
Well, because it's a selection, not an election. It quit being an election quite some time ago, and
Okay, so
started
who's the secret
started.
people that are selecting our representatives?
Well, to become presidency, to become president, you have to come up through the ranks, right? Traditionally,
No,
that's how it's supposed to work.
never supposed to be that way. There
So
are no
traditionally,
ranks.
traditionally, you haven't started out with like a senator, and then you graduate to a congressman, or maybe a senator or a governor, and then you work your way up to presidency. Every president we've ever had has followed those routes, and right, except for one. Correct or incorrect?
No.
So which other presidents besides the one that we currently have did not follow that role?
I want to say, hold on, let me see. I don't want to be wrong on it. Well, I do know Reagan wasn't in Congress at all. He was a governor, but he wasn't in Congress. He wasn't a state representative. Jimmy Carter, he was a peanut farmer.
Jimmy Carter was a peanut farmer, yeah.
Eisenhower wasn't in Congress. Bush Sr. wasn't in Congress or a governor.
But most of all the presidents attended the same
And most
schooling
dogs like
system.
people. What's your point?
Okay. Well, I won't hold your time up no more. You can continue on with your show. Thank
Okay.
you.
Sorry, it's just a dumb point. Like, most dogs like people. It's just a dumb point. Well, most did it. Okay, and what is that? That doesn't do anything for anybody to say that most did it. Cool. I wish I knew Cheeky. I wish I knew Chicky, because it's a little bit confusing. We'll put this up here. All right. I don't know. Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Miranda.
Are you talking to your friend? I wish I knew. Hello, Miranda. I would love to talk to you too. Are you available to talk on the phone? Miranda!
Hello.
Can I also talk to Miranda? She seems cool. Okay. I don't know what was going on right there, but I did thought it would be funny. Like, Miranda! Who there? Who dat? Hi, how are you?
Hi, am I on?
Yes.
I'm just calling. I heard a caller, I don't know, several callers ago, talking about the access to food, and I came on a little late, and I didn't catch the whole thing, but I was just curious. I heard a good portion of it. Who doesn't have access to food?
Sure. Plenty of those people in poverty.
Nobody restricts anybody from going to the supermarket.
Lack of capital does.
Well, lack of capital, that's true. But my wife feeds a family of 4 on like $15, and makes like gourmet meals. So I don't get all that. She shops the deals, uses coupons, and
Feeds
and
a
deals like
family of
2 for
four for $15 a meal.
and it's healthy, and it's great, delicious. She's an awesome cook. Awesome cook.
Yeah, things that never happened anywhere for 500, please, Alex, because
Well,
no,
she doesn't buy Coca-Cola,
neither
she
do
doesn't
I.
buy stuff like that. But
Cool.
but
I
she
don't buy
shops,
candy. I
and
don't buy
she
soda. Congratulations, you're not getting
no,
anywhere
same
here.
here,
I
same
just
here.
use
But
filtered water at home. I don't buy water at the
everybody
store.
has access to food, and
Congratulations. Yeah, you
there's
need
no
capital
signs
to
out
achieve
front.
it. See, I
There's
like
no
how
s-
you
there's,
you guys bring up like everyone has access to food, even though that's not what I said, right? I said that food is a human right and it shouldn't be charged as a
so,
commodity.
so how does the farmer get paid then if it's not charged,
Yeah, the
and
same way
the
that they get
driver that
paid right
delivers
now.
it?
The same way that they get paid right now. Government.
How?
The
The government pays
government.
the farmer to grow food?
Yes, sir. Are you not aware that there's a $10
And
million package right now in front of Congress to bail out the farmers because to stop them from having to declare bankruptcy because of Donald Trump's piss poor policies right now?
no, that's only because of weather and things like that, droughts and floods and things like that. You have to be honest with yourself.
That's because of
There's many
droughts and
reasons.
floods and everything. Okay, got it. So it's not because of the tariffs, so that China's no longer our number one purchaser of soybeans. Our soybean farmers definitely aren't hurting because of Donald Trump's tariff war. Our beef farmers definitely aren't hurting, or sorry, our cattlers. Our cattle farmers aren't hurting because of Donald Trump's tariff wars. We definitely don't have screwworm parasite in our cows in the United States because of Donald Trump and his tariff wars and dismantling systems. Or actually, I think that was RFK dismantling systems that would have prevented us for us to be able to, or that would have allowed us to track where the screwworm was and to stop the importation of any item that could have been contaminated with screwworm. Yeah, none of these things have anything to do with why the farmers are needing a bailout. Yeah.
Is it my turn now? Is it my turn, or do you just ramble on and you're incoherent
Yep, $10
socialist
billion
meme?
to the farmers has zero to do with
Oh,
Donald
answer.
Trump. Got it.
Let me ask you a question. I mean,
It's
don't
just a
go on your
coincidence.
rampage. Don't go on a rampage. Relax. Take it easy. You'll live longer. I'm 68. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, I
Relax.
love your
Don't
misogyny.
get excited.
How do you
Don't
have
don't
how do
don't
you
have
feed a family of
derangement.
four?
Don't have derangement syndrome. My
Okay, I
wife
love your
feeds a family of
misogyny.
4 on
I love your
$15.
misogyny.
Gourmet meals,
I think,
dear.
oh guys, I
Gourmet
think I know
meals.
what it is, right? So
What
he
is it? What
doesn't
is it?
actually talk to his wife, right? Because his wife doesn't tell him how much it actually spends. He's so used to it only costing $15 back in, let's just say, the 90s. So he thinks that everything hasn't changed in price at the grocery stores since the 90s.
Well,
And that's
hon,
why,
when
and
the
because of
prices
that, and
when the
because of that, his wife just continues to pat him on the head and say, "Yes, yes, my love, yes, my darling, the love of my life, the father of my children." It still only costs us $15 for
I
a
bet you have no
singular
children.
meal, or I guess is it $15 a day? Is it $15 for the entire trip to the grocery store?
$15 to feed 4 for a day.
For a day. Wait, so that includes breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
What's that? No, that's dinner.
That's just dinner. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. What's
So
lunch? A ham
again,
and
we'll
cheese
just
sandwich?
remind
Come on,
everybody, right? So
sweet pea.
I can't go to the store and I can't buy let's just say
Because
salmon.
you're stupid.
Two
You don't know
things
how to
of salmon,
shop.
right? Like unseasoned, nothing else on them is $6.99, right? For
I'm
one
eating a
one
salmon.
piece of
I'm eating
salmon.
a
So
salmon
just
dinner
from
with
that
rice
alone,
and
guys, just
potatoes
from that alone, right?
for $15.
$6.99. We'll just round it up to $7 for 4 people. $7 for 4 people. That's, oh my God. That's already over $15 just with 2. slices of salmon
Where are
that you get to
these? Where are
season
these?
by yourself
Where are
is
these? Where are
already
these? Poor,
over the
oh
$15
Lord
limit.
Almighty!
Interesting.
You rant,
If we
you rant and
look
rave like
at,
this
okay,
forever? Do you
if
let a
we can
caller
look
get a
at beef,
question in?
right? Beef is also above the price of minimum wage. Minimum wage is $7.25. Remember that, right?
No, it's
So
not.
let's
No,
just
it's
say
not.
that beef,
No, it's not.
ground beef,
No, it's
or
not.
maybe we'll
People
just,
at
yeah,
Walmart
let's
are
just start
getting
with ground beef,
$20 an
is
hour. You're a liar.
$8. Okay?
You're a liar.
$8 for a pound, like per pound, okay? So if you're feeding a family of 4, you're going to need at least 2 pounds, right? So we're
You're
already
such a
over
liar.
that $15 mark. Okay, we got this. Okay, we're already over that $15 mark. So that can't be it. Steaks, you can't buy a steak for less than $20, a singular steak or maybe a 2-pack steak for less than $20. Okay, and this
Can I
this
say
isn't
a
even
word?
grade
Can I get a
A,
word
right?
in?
We're
Can
not
I
even
get a
talking about
word
grade
in?
A steaks,
Or do
okay?
you just rant
You
on?
can't
Can I get a
buy
word in?
2 steaks
Can I get a word in?
for
Who on
less
welfare is
than
eating fucking
20 bucks,
steak?
okay?
Who on welfare is eating
$7.25 is
steak?
absolutely
Is
the
this woman?
federal minimum wage. So
Am I
good job.
on mute?
Anyway,
Am I on mute? Who
so
on
like
welfare eats?
we're
Who
already
on
doing this,
welfare?
dismantling this to
Who?
hell and back with just the meats, okay?
Who?
If
Trump?
now
Hey,
we
Trump.
look at a pack of 4 of chicken,
Don't make
let's
me
just
hang up,
use
please. Let me
chicken
get a word
thighs,
in,
right?
please.
Boneless
Let me
chicken
get a word
thighs. I
in.
know, okay. Boneless
Let me get
chicken
a
thighs, a
word in.
pack of 4, which by the way is not enough to feed 4 people. You're
Oh
going to
Lord.
need another pack of 4, okay?
Bleeding heart liberal.
So if we look at that, all right, that's going to also be $7 for a pack of 4
Can,
with just
you know
buying
what?
your store brand, okay? Just buying
Can I
the
say
store
something?
brand. Well,
Can I say
that's our, if
something?
we just say
Please.
$6, we're already at $12. So that
How does it? You
means
don't lay.
that now
You
we
don't
are
lay
what,
next to somebody at night, do
buying
you?
rice in a bag, I would assume. Maybe they bought that a week ago, so maybe they don't need that. Fresh broccoli is still pretty good, so I guess you could buy that. I guess if he's only eating chicken every single night, you are able to, guess what, feed a family of 4 on $15 if you're only feeding chicken and maybe one side.
When's it going to be my turn to say something to you?
I mean,
So
I'm
you
just
may
wondering
learn
when you're going to
something.
wake up from
So
reality that your wife is
may learn
obviously
something.
lying
Where
to
did
you. Well,
did you
hey,
learn? Did you learn your
Kevin.
reality from your parents who fed your
Hey,
fat fucking ugly
Kevin.
ass?
Oh yeah, I'm so
Is that how
fat.
you did it?
I'm
How
so
many kids
fat.
do you
Yeah,
have?
I know.
How many kids?
Ad
How many
hominems.
children do
Ad
you feed?
hominems. I love the ad hominems. I love the ad
Trump
hominems right
derangement
there.
syndrome.
I
Trump
know you're
derangement
so good.
syndrome.
Hey, Kevin.
You are so
When's the last time
horrible.
that your wife let you
Look at
touch her vagina?
you know what? Does
Yeah.
anybody in
When's the
your
last
do you
time
have
that
any
you
children?
let your wife finish?
Do you ever do you have children?
Do you ever let your wife finish a sentence?
No, you don't have children. You're
Yeah,
not
I
married because
actually
you're a
do,
fucking
but thank
whore.
you. I
You're
do.
a
Thank
fucking
you
slut.
so
I
much,
doubt
Pookie
you
Pie.
do.
Thank you so
You know
much.
what?
Oh
When
yeah,
you
I know.
when you
It's like
can't
I know
when
it's
you
like
can't
so
feed your
mind
children
blowing.
steak,
Oh my god, it's
you,
so mind blowing. It's so bad. It's so bad. I just want to remind everybody, like, yeah, I'm so fat, guys. So fat. Wait, so I just want to be clear. He didn't want to acknowledge the price of things. It's so, yeah, that's an embarrassing 68-year-old. That's what I'm saying. Like, oh, is that why he hung up? Is that why Kevin hung up Charles? Because you slept with his wife? Oof, that's gotta hurt. I mean, hey, I ain't gonna do that. I know, right, Junior? 70-year-old calling me fat. Like, oh, I know. You guys are so... Yeah, he got triggered and left because he didn't like being called out on the bullshit. Thank you so much, Neely said. Listening to you talk over him felt like a gift just for me. You're welcome. Also, 666 in the chat. So let's get some Hail Satans in the chat. Also, thank you, Tormentium, for the love on the shirt. I've had this shirt for a long time. Also, guys, just a friendly reminder, if you haven't already, if you're new here, you haven't hit that follow button or that subscribe button, do it right now. Do it right now. Do it right now. If you are new, hit that follow, hit that subscribe button. I go live about 3 to 4 days a week, just depending on the schedule. Well, technically on TikTok 4 to 5. Just really depends on what I've got going on. The best way to support the platform is to do it just like Neely did, which was direct donations to direct links. We have Cash App, we have Venmo, we have Buy Me a Coffee, which is open to international payments. So if that's what you guys want to try to do for me, I appreciate so much. We also have super chats, bits, and all the wonderful things that we have as well. Okay, so right. I like to see the super chats. I do try to read them either between callers or at the end of the stream. So if you guys are able to support me, that is the best and easiest way to do this. Women's labor should not be free. So when I'm asking you to support, that is why, because it is at least at minimum emotional labor to have these conversations with misogynistic men that still believe that somehow you can pay for one singular meal for $15 to cook at home. Yeah. So, and we debunked that in 2.5 seconds flat with talking about the price of things. Isn't that surprising? It's not at all. So, you guys, if you guys can help support the platform, it is greatly appreciated. I haven't seen any support except for Neely for a bit. So, love you, Neely. Hail Satan. Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, how old
Good
are you?
evening. I'm 21 years old.
21 years old. Okay, great. And are you still supporting Donald Trump?
I am still supporting Donald Trump.
What's he done so far to earn your continued support?
Well, I think he's a good executive leader. I mean, I hear a lot about fascism. He's a fascist. And I think the reason why people think that is because he's probably uses the most executive power of any president in modern history, which is almost entirely necessary just due to the fact that the Congress on both sides can't pass a law. The Congress under his administration, maybe because he's so polarizing, has passed less bills than any Congress at this point of any president administration in history. So he almost has to be a fascist because Congress can't do its job. He almost has to use these executive powers. More executive power than normal people would use. A good example being the war. Didn't ask congressional approval, didn't ask anybody. But if it had to get done, it had to get done. And Congress wasn't going to do it.
Okay. Who do executive order, like what do executive orders do?
Executive orders? Well, it seems to me just, I'm not super on to date with executive orders, but it seems like it's a way to get laws passed by passing Congress, but they can be struck down in the courts.
Law?
So a lot of his executive orders that go too far, like birthright citizenship, get taken down in the courts. So it's a good way to get things out there, get things into place for the federal government to enact. But if they're unconstitutional, it seems pretty clear that they get struck down in the court system eventually.
Gotcha. So
I don't know the statistics, but I'm almost sure every single one of his executive orders has been litigated by some organization.
Okay, so you think executive orders are law?
Are what?
Are law?
Law? Not exactly, because they can be struck down by administrations. Laws
so can legislation be struck
laws
down?
Cannot be.
Legislation can also be struck down.
My point is that executive orders are necessary. They're necessary.
No, but you said specifically that that executive orders were laws, which is why I was asking for clarification.
All right.
Is that something you believe?
No, I don't think executive orders are laws, but I
Okay.
think they can accomplish similar things as laws. I'm sure you could agree with that as well.
No. Can executive orders tell private corporations or states what to do?
States what to do?
Private corporations or states?
No, I'm pretty sure executive orders are strictly federal,
Federal. Which part of the federal government?
the executive branch.
The executive branch. Gotcha.
Yes.
So how far reaching is an executive order to tell, like if we just look at birthright citizenship, for example, to tell
Yes.
states how to register their citizens that are born within their state?
I think it's an extremely weak way to
I
to
mean,
enact
it's
that law. It
literally
obviously failed. I mean,
guaranteed
yeah,
by the 14th Amendment and past law.
yes,
I believe it's
yes,
8
and
U.S.
I'm
Code
not. Yeah,
1401.
I agree with the 14th Amendment, and I'm aware
Mm,
of the history of why with slaves, and I think that
It's
if
more than
America
slaves.
wants to have the discussion of tourism, of birth tourism, if you want to talk about birth tourism, we can talk about birth tourism. We could have that discussion as a country. It's not something people really talk about. We talk a lot about abortion. We talk a lot about voter ID, but that's not a conversation that's really on the national stage. And maybe it's not as big of an issue as striking down the 14th Amendment, but it does seem like a problem. Especially, I've heard journal articles about Chinese immigrants or Chinese citizens going to American territories like American Samoa, having children there, and those children get U.S. citizenship. I personally think that is a problem.
Okay. So, but you would agree that executive orders are limited and are not far reaching.
Yes, I would agree that executive orders are limited and not far-reaching because
Okay.
as soon as the
So,
next president gets in office, they can strike down any executive order that the last administration enacted,
right. So it
which is
sounds
why
like
it's not a very effective way to
it's
enact change.
not
It's actually a terrible way. No, it's a
you
terrible way.
got it. So it's not a good way to govern. It's not far reaching enough.
It's not a good way to govern. And I think
Gotcha.
I'm in a relationship. So, and in my relationship, we disagree on politics a lot. And we get through our life by compromise. And the fact that neither Republicans or Democrats can compromise on a single thing in Congress is why someone like Donald Trump is the only one who could get anything done, because he's not afraid to use executive power, as limited and as weak as it is.
Mm. Okay.
And that's probably why I support Donald Trump the most, just because he'll use executive power when other presidents won't.
Yeah, and you said the Democrats won't compromise?
I don't think Democrats compromise, and I don't think Republicans compromise in Congress.
Because I was
I'm
going
sure
to
there's a lot of reasons
say
for that. Lobbying is a huge reason
compromise.
for that.
In order to compromise, you have to reach across the aisle, and Donald Trump has
Mhm.
legitimately told the Republicans in Congress, you don't need help from the Democrats. Don't work with them. I don't want Democratic policies to come across my desk. He maybe not said that last sentence. That's probably me embellishing, but he definitely said the
Yeah.
other ones. And we've seen with previous administrations where both of them are able to be completely bipartisan and pass bipartisan legislation because they worked across the aisle and they were reaching
What would you say,
mutual
like a Clinton
compromises.
administration, like a Bill Clinton administration?
Clinton, Obama had the majority Republican House of Representatives almost his entire term.
I don't disagree with you. I just watched the video of Dick Cheney walking in and giving the thumbs down
I would
when
actually even
Obamacare
say
got passed.
Bush did really good with having a bipartisan Congress.
Do you think, just a personal opinion, that Donald Trump is so evil and polarizing that that's why Democrats don't want to work with him? Or do you think
I wouldn't call him
do you think he
evil.
dictates?
Polarizing is a good statement. No, I think that somehow Donald Trump was able to, and that was McCain that did that. But Donald Trump was able to, what's the word? Inject himself into the Republican Party and kind of take it over. And he made it a
True.
team sport instead of what it actually should be, which is politics where you can work cooperatively for the best interest of your local constituents instead of the best
True.
interest of the President of the United States.
True. Now, and I say this, a lot of people are very frustrated with Donald Trump. And I'm college age. I go to college in Connecticut, a blue state. I'm from New Jersey originally, a blue state. Now I live in Connecticut. And I'll just tell you what I tell everybody when they say, why do you still support Donald Trump? I'll say, well, I'm not going to vote for him in the next election. That's basically my point, is that he's here for 2 years. You got to put up for the next 2 years. Republicans are probably going to lose the midterms statistically, even with gerrymandering, which we can agree. I think you can agree that gerrymandering is another thing that I hate. I wish was illegal. But I am originally from Ocean County, and if you look up the Ocean County congressional map, there is quite literally a red line that goes on the shore up to my exact town, encircling it, and then goes down to Atlantic County. And that is the only strong Republican county. If there was no jury-rigged maps and everything was on county lines in New Jersey, which could be possible because we have such high population on the shore, Monmouth County, Ocean County, Atlantic County would all be deep red counties. But
What's the one party that's actually tried to ban gerrymandering, political gerrymandering at the federal level?
I'm going to take a guess that it was the Democrats.
Yes, every Republican voted against it. We have
What
right-wing
administration do you know?
pundits.
Can you?
Oh, they introduced it under Biden's administration. They introduced it even under Trump's first term. They introduced it under Obama.
Do you think that has anything to do with the fact that there's been a big blue exodus from states like New York and California, and maybe Nate's maps need to be redrawn in states like Texas and Florida? For example, my parents just moved from New Jersey to Florida last month.
It's not
to
related
Fort
to
Myers
this. And also,
area.
if you want to
don't
talk
think
about
so?
Florida
'Cause Florida's had a
gerrymandering,
huge-
Florida
has had a
gerrymandering,
huge
Florida
injection.
gerrymandering, just so you're aware, was done unconstitutionally against the Florida Constitution. Ron DeSantis literally violated the Florida
I'm
state
aware.
constitution.
I'm aware they changed their constitution. to
They
do
did
their
not change the
gerrymandering. And I'm
Constitution.
also-
They did not change the Constitution in order to get this new map passed. The Constitution
how did they
has
do it?
not changed. Why? Because the Republican Party has become sycophants for Donald Trump, and that also applies to judges that are elected
Why wasn't
to the Supreme
Why
Court.
wasn't Virginia? Why do you think Virginia wasn't able to pass their map, their Democrat-led map? that
Because
would have
of the
completely
Republicans
canceled
on
out?
the Virginia Supreme Court. Virginia is purple. I've already said
That's a
this.
purple state.
I just want
Florida
to, I
is
know
now a deep red state. Florida wasn't deep. Florida was purple 20 years
Florida
ago.
was not purple.
Now it's deep red.
Yeah, no,
Florida
so
was
I'll explain
purple.
this to you. Hold on.
Bush
Pause
won
for a second.
won by
dude.
pubic hair. In
Right,
Florida.
and
I'm
that's
pretty
a
sure
whole
Florida was
question
purple.
too. Okay.
So during the last
Hold
blue
on.
exodus,
Nope.
from
Hold
blue
on.
states to-
Hold. I was still talking
I'm
about
sorry.
something else entirely. Thank you.
go ahead. My
When
bad.
it comes to Virginia, here's the funny thing, right? So there was before they put their new map on the ballot in Virginia, it was sued and it was taken to the Virginia Supreme Court before it could even be brought up to a vote on a ballot. And the
Yes.
Virginia Supreme Court at the time said, actually, yes, this is legal. This is within our Constitution. This was done legally. We'll go ahead and allow you to do it because at least we're putting the vote to the people. Because the Republicans, because it's a Republican majority on the Virginia Supreme Court, they didn't expect it to pass. And then after it passes, they said it was done illegally, even though they were the ones that allowed it to go on the ballot. Nothing was changed in Florida when it comes to the Florida state constitution that does not allow for party gerrymandering, whether it is to help a
Besides
party
a
or
huge
to
amount of
disenfranchise the
population
party.
growth. Besides a huge amount of population growth, I don't disagree with you. Virginia had no population growth. California lost people.
California
maps are
hasn't lost
redrawn.
people in that way that people think. People really think that there's some kind of mass exodus coming out of these states. They're not. They have just as many people moving into them as people are leaving, and many as the people that are staying are also giving birth to kids. It's like a 1% drop, less than a 1% drop in their overall population in each of those states that you guys think is like this big deal. It's really not.
Well, I can tell you from experience.
Find the
My parents
correlate.
left
I
New
don't care
Jersey
about your
for the
personal
purpose of
experience. I
taxes.
don't care about your personal experience.
And I understand, but I will also say that states like California and New York should grow exponentially. Every decade, they should grow by huge amounts. Those states should explode in population.
That's your opinion.
Because people
I don't
should
really
go there
care
for
about your
jobs.
opinion. I don't really care about your opinion.
All right, that's where the money's at. California and New York's where
Okay, cool.
almost all the money's at. So they should get higher populations. They shouldn't stay stagnated or
Yeah.
grow by 1%.
I
my
was
opinion.
being
But-
facetious when I said that because I don't have the exact numbers, but they are not losing their population in California. I know that's
All right.
that's hard
All
because
right.
it's a Republican talking point that says somehow there's this mass exodus, and you just truly don't know because you're not
All right.
there. You're in Connecticut. Again, you're voting for
I am in
people that are
Connecticut.
actively working against what you want, which is to stop partisan gerrymandering. But you're voting them in to Congress. I guarantee if I look up the last one, I believe the last one was introduced by Representative Neguse or Neguse. I know I'm saying his name wrong. My bad. And it was voted down. And I'm sure if your Republican representative was on that committee, I'm sure he voted no. So you're saying that this is
whoever
an
the
issue for
Republican
you, but
in
yet you're
Atlantic
voting
County-
against it. Then you have someone like Scott Jennings on CNN,
Mhm.
who is the Republican on CNN. That's like, yeah,
CNN.
Jerry,
I don't trust legacy
I don't
media.
watch them
They're all
either.
paid.
I'm just making fun of a man because
They're
I
paid.
saw a
watch
clip of
people
it.
like you. I watch independent people like you.
Cool. Scott Jennings, I'm not saying I don't like him. I don't like CNN in general. I just watch clips, right? And I love calling them out for their hypocrisy in the moment. And that's what this is that I'm talking about right here. Okay? Scott Jennings was like, partisan gerrymandering is bad and they shouldn't do it. And they were like, oh, okay, so you would support, right? The Democrats on the panel were like, so you would support a bill that doesn't allow for partisan gerrymandering at the federal level. Oh, well, no, it's not. It's only bad when the blue states do it. It's only bad when the blue states do it. I'm curious about this. Are you mad at all in any way, shape, or form? Are you mad at states like Florida and Texas for gerrymandering
I'm
their
not
states?
Florida.
You're not mad
when
at
it comes
Florida
to
for
gerrymandering,
violating their own
I'm mad at Texas.
constitution?
Can I be honest? Can I be honest with you? I am mad at Texas.
Bro, fuck, I can't. Really quickly. Okay, I saw something. Vet Fun. Thank you, Rainbow. I do appreciate that. I do have to thank Taylor said it was cathartic for her to listen to me talk over the old man. Eric said to the old man, his wife must have pulled the Jesus with the fish and loaves. Thanks for crushing that, of course. Tara said, just because, thank you. Maybe this would help feed a family of 8. Should be no problem, right? Exactly, $30. So, should be able to feed a family of 8 for $30, apparently. Didn't know we got that hard. Yeah, it seems so fucking weird. Okay, we're doing that. Okay. Hi, how are you?
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yes, awesome. Thank you. How old are you for terms of service?
So I'm 30 years old from Missouri.
Okay, and you're still supporting Donald Trump?
Yeah, still support him. Yeah, there's been a few issues lately. I've been kind of getting a little iffy about him a little bit in some areas.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, where would you like to start?
So I would like to let's start on the foreign policy part.
Okay.
I'll be honest on the foreign policy because I'm not a big foreign war person because it's just, I consider myself isolationist in my view because because I'm 30 years old. I was born in 96. I've seen what has happened in the Middle East. I've seen like 9/11. Okay, yeah, I've seen these wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Those were wasteful conflicts, in my opinion. And I'm not a big fan of. I was not a fan of Bush at that time when he did that crap, because it's just a little frustrating because we waste our money and our resources to go into those places and try to do regime change, and it has never worked in those decades. And we had the same thing in the Vietnam War. How'd that go? Never
Yep.
worked. You know. And then we're doing this kind of saying, okay, wasting our resources. Like, I know Trump will say, oh, we're just blowing the hell out of them and trying to constantly do air attack. We're not putting boots on the ground. I understand that, but make a deal at this point, because it's getting really exhausting to try and waste more and more, but putting bombs and then doing all this dumb stuff, you know, in my opinion. So I just get a little tired of it. Waste of resources.
Yeah, and now we're doing airstrikes in Iraq as of yesterday.
So, and yeah, it's just one of those things you kind of like, okay,
And apparently
we
we've
get it.
already won like 32 or 56 times. I can't keep up with how many times that we've been told that we have won with this conflict in Iran. It's really hard to keep up, or how many times that we've had a deal that
Right.
doesn't go through.
Yeah, because I've heard like 4 or 5 times overall. I've heard. And it's kind of like, okay, is it seriously, or are you just, or because we know about Iran, the IRGC, they're no joke to play with, and they got those terrorist cells, the Houthis, all that terrorist cells and all that stuff. They're not gonna back down. They're a regime that has been around for a long time, that has been like for 47 years. Because you could say they're a terrorist group or whatever, but they've been around a long time. They're not going to back down. The only thing they know is just about killing people and terrorizing people. That's just what they know for. They're a totalitarian regime.
The IRGC,
simple.
sure, but not the people that live there. We've killed
Right.
about 3 times as many of our soldiers have been injured, of civilians, women and
Mhm.
children.
I've heard that report about it. I know they said it was accidental on the school part. I've heard that story a bunch of times.
The Pentagon has yet to take verbal claim of it, or written claim.
Yeah, well, yeah. So yeah, it's the Pentagon's usually a mixed bag, because you don't know what that's going to come out of there, if they're telling the truth or not. That's the problem with our foreign policy. At times, you got the military-industrial complex will tell you one thing, and then tell you another. So that's just how sometimes it's screwed up with our system. Sometimes where with the Pentagon, it just doesn't work, in my view. And it's kind of like you get sick and tired of these things about, come on, give me a real truth about this. And you sometimes, and you got most of the American public really want to say, I saw some number on a poll say like, 60% are against this conflict, which I think is Larry, the majority of people agree with that, or agree with me on that. So at a certain point, you see that.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure any liberal or conservative would agree with that. So
No,
or
I
even
hear of people that have full-throated support of Donald Trump and this conflict,
Mhm.
and the fact
Yeah,
that
it's
in
just
order to try to make it so that they don't have to request approval from Congress, they're trying to rename the operation, and they're also reclassifying the most recent deaths of the 4 soldiers.
right. Yeah,
And
I
it's
saw
only
that.
about,
So
it's less than 35%
right.
support it.
Yeah, and then it's just, and you got, it's just a part of when we don't, in this country, we've been through wars, we've seen it, we've seen the bad and the horrors of it. And trust me, none of us out here, even my age, like because I'm a young millennial myself, is none of us want to get into a conflict and say, is that worth it? Is it worth to go into Iran if he wanted to put boots on the ground? Is it worth my life to go over there and get killed for something? It's waste. That's what I feel like these certain things in the past decades, like Vietnam and the war on terror, has been waste. What is it wasting for? Waste my life to do something to yeah, I love my country, no way, no question about it. I love patriotism. I love my country's pride, but I just don't think I'm going to waste myself to go into a conflict and waste my life for something. It has to be work for a purpose, in my opinion.
Great. So, like, why are you still supporting Trump?
And well, I support Trump because, and it's like I said, on the foreign policy is just more iffy. I've been in on them lately. Their stuff is more economically and some on immigration and some other issues like like trade and all that stuff in certain areas, yeah, economically, yeah, and immigration. So if you want to talk about that,
What's going well economically?
economically, and from like I know you don't care about personal experience and all that, but you know, and I know people are going to say about being a farm or I'm a farmer and a rancher working with my family and all that stuff. We take care of cattle, chickens, horses, and all kinds of stuff, you know. And we have a guy we work like down the street and all that stuff does soybeans. Our neighbor does it, and he has one right across the street from us, from the soybean field and cornfield, right? Because I can see it from because people work on those fields all the time. And to be honest with you, how I see it, when we're still producing stuff like soybeans and corn and some of it's kind of more feeding aspects like corn. So, but we have soybeans out there. We have a lot of them. So they're still producing out there as also. And I haven't really seen like halts or stoppage on anything. And I agree. There's some saying, "Oh, what about the bailouts and what about all that stuff?" I'll be moderate about it. I'll say, yeah. If they didn't have those things, had that money from that bailout from the government, yeah, sure, maybe a little bit liberal and all that stuff. But the guy told me, the neighbor or said who does the soybean fields, he said, if we didn't have that money from the government, nothing would be operational. We would not keep going. And
Yeah, I'm
then
aware. I have zero problem with us subsidizing our farmers. I believe that should be. They're the ones that provide sustenance to the people of the United States of America. I have zero
Correct.
problem with us subsidizing them. I think that's actually what needs to happen. I would even be okay if we purchase back certain farmland, let's say from like the Chinese owned farmland that they've told us about, made it
Yeah.
owned by our United States government, and then maybe
Yeah.
lease the land or something, but somehow we get some farm hands and farmers on that land to plant
Yes, absolutely. And it's been.
and grab it
And
and
I'll
stuff.
be
Yeah.
I'll be honest, and I'll be honest in certain areas, and like I hear from my parents all the time, but when it comes to property tax and because we own land, I think we got over if I ever asked them, I think it was 83 acres we have on our land here, so it's a big land we have, but we get but the fun sometimes as a farmer it gets a little frustrating because with pricing and paying off of that at the end of the month, it's just sometimes the cost goes high. That's where we get frustrated at times. Like it doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democrat, the prices on property or even our natural resources sometimes go up, and it's been a little frustrating at times. And certainly from a rancher standpoint. So, to be honest, so it just sucks.
Okay. I think so, Dean. I don't know. Sorry, I wanna point something out. You mentioned how much the war effort is currently costing us with Iran, but you didn't really comment or anything on the loss of lives of our troops there.
Oh, you mean before? Yeah,
No, I mean,
I
we
don't
have
know much
18 dead in total,
Right,
over
yeah, I saw
600
that. Yeah,
wounded.
yeah, and I saw that was 18 or 19. I heard. I could be wrong, but you could look it up. I think it's eight. You're probably right
It's
on 18.
19 if you include a gentleman who was a New York Army National Guard
Right,
that,
right,
or yeah, Army National Guard that died due to a medical issue
right,
back in
right,
March.
right. Okay, I did not know that part, but at least he clarified that pretty well. So yeah.
Yeah, I have a whole list of
Um.
all of their names because I'm.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, because you're on top of it, so I get it. So everybody does that, and I got a device on my phone. I can look it up right now easily. So yeah. And all of those 19 service members, it's sad that that it should not you should not have lost those 19 service members at all. It sucks. And trust me, I hate it. It's not fun. It's just a waste of life, pretty much. I hate that part about it. It's just no, because you're wasting a young life for that for no reason. So, and for just a bullshit war for no reason. So, in my opinion.
Yeah. So,
And
well, at least you don't agree with the war because if you did, I'd have to tell you to go strap up your boots and go enlist because it's not like I feel like
right,
if you're going to be in support of a war, you need to get your ass out on the front lines. Because
yeah,
that's
yeah,
the only right way to really support it.
yeah. Trust me,
And the farmers are
it's been.
hurting.
Go ahead,
Sorry.
go
I
ahead.
was going to say the farmers are hurting because of Donald Trump and the things that he's done so far for our economy. So, what else is good about our economy that you were trying to say?
So, like I said about like we've been still producing on agricultural farms like lately, still producing well out there. And the other stuff is like I've seen on the Big Beautiful Bill and all that stuff. I know people are going to say, from a Democrat standpoint, it's bad in certain most areas, like partially like cutting this, cutting that on social programs and all that stuff. I get it. You don't want to shut down every program, but and then when it comes to economics, I saw assault deductions that usually helps people in the Northeast. Like it's an economic tool, I think it is, and somewhat you could look it up for me.
I'm
So
aware of what
I think,
SALT is.
yeah, yeah. And then there's more like say like the traditional Republican tax cuts stuff, which we all know. I'm not going to sit here as a moderate Republican and say, oh, everything's perfect on the tax cuts. Yeah, there's been cuts on certain things, but there's still things they're not quite there yet. Have not kicked in. Still, I'll be honest about that. So, and then plus you got the tariffs. I've I guess I got my brother his name is Joe LaMotta, who's my brother, who kind of does works for a government contract they make. He's a machinist, and he considers himself more independent, a little bit left leaning-ish, like Democrat somewhat. But he kind of understand. I understand where he comes from because usually tariffs are he says is a good thing because he kind of puts parts on certain products and then certain parts that helps me to get more process and more money in my pocket. So that's how he feels as a machinist. So that's why I heard from him. And I kind of say, okay, I agree. I understand from a union or machinist standpoint is terrorists can work in certain areas if it's targeting terrorists or on certain parts. And I feel like certain times, like other countries try to take advantage of our certain certain advantages of our like oil industry or parts of our like this and that, yeah.
Okay, so I didn't hear anything positive about the economy there with that. So
And there's some
honestly,
positives here and there, like just the cost in
are
certain
you in
areas.
support
And
of unions?
do I support the unions? I'll
Mm-hmm.
be honest, like from what my brother does, like yes, I support the unions.
Well, that's
Yes.
good. I don't know why you would vote for Trump because he literally works with people that are trying to dismantle unions, like Elon Musk, who I believe Elon Musk said something along the lines of unions shouldn't exist. Worker
Well, first of
unions
all,
hurt things. And I mean,
well, it depends how you look at things. What on certain policies they support, and and yeah, and I saw the other day Trump was at a all workers factory in Michigan the other day. I don't know if you saw that yourself. Like, yeah, I saw that. It was kind of like it was like the GM auto industry. I think it was like GM, and and like I heard some guy who was a Trump supporter which he had shirts that all workers for Trump. And I was hearing what he was saying. He was kind of like, okay, yeah, it's coming at like 30 or 40% of the time, coming through in Michigan, coming from certain factories from Mexico in certain areas. It's coming slowly, but
oh no,
not
it's
to
Mexico.
Mexico, yeah,
No,
Mexico,
Mexico.
yeah, yeah, probably that may be wrong terminology. So yeah, that's why I heard and all that stuff in that Trump rally, and I feel like certain parts of the economy is good, but there's certain parts that it has not been good at times.
Like, give me the farming industry is not doing well. I don't care about your personal experience. Manufacturing's
Right.
also not going well. We have a stagnant manufacturing job market right now, so that's not going well. We haven't increased in any manufacturing jobs since Donald Trump has been back in office. So that's not going well. So what measure of the economy is going well? The Fed kept their rates the exact same. Unemployment
Right.
increased.
Right.
CPI, or inflation, is increasing. Like, so what's going well with the economy?
So like I said, like it's like I said, I could disagree about the whole on the farming thing. About it. We're still producing a lot more, and we're still getting cash flow coming through here. And then when it comes to manufacturing, we could disagree about that, what the numbers are, and then here and there
No,
about.
you can't disagree on factual data.
Well, I understand that, but
You just
sometimes
can't disagree on factual data. So we'll pull up the FRED. Manufacturing jobs. Are you familiar with the Federal Reserve economic data?
I've heard of it, yeah, but I don't usually go on there. No.
Yeah, so short is, you can just say the short explanation is, we just call it the FRED, right? So we'll put this up for everyone to see. I just did it on a 5-year run, right? Where is it at? Okay, there we go. So 5-year chart. So starts July of 2021, but we're going to look at when Donald Trump took office. We start at 12,673, and we've gone down, 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 down. Oh, there's a slight up at 12,582, 583, 12,598, yeah, 597, 595, 598. Yeah, so since he took office, we lost 100,000 manufacturing jobs. Just under 100,000 manufacturing jobs.
Okay. So, and if it does actually say that, okay, probably they're in certain categories in certain areas. Yeah, probably. Like, I feel like, and some of that could be part of just like automation, a lot of changes in automation and technology. That's part of it. You gotta understand it because we are in the AI era, and then we got people
Yeah,
doing
let's
less.
support Donald Trump continuing to push out AI and deregulate the industry so more people can lose jobs. So actually that'll bring us to another question here. So you're acknowledging that AI is definitely costing people their jobs. What is your solution for the people that are going to be losing their jobs en masse?
Well, that's okay. That's a good question. How do we do that? How we fix the
Yeah, what's
problem?
the Republican solution for the loss of jobs?
Hmm. That's a good question. To be honest with you, well, it's called. I think personally, there needs to be adjustment period in different positions, like in how we use. We gotta take advantage of certain places and like in technology, use the technology to kind of get some. It doesn't have to be like say, like say example 15,000 jobs like the old days was. We're not like that. We're not in that era anymore. We got new technology how we can advance ourselves to use computer and use AI generated stuff to use for that to get some workers to still keep their jobs like on say the control like the machine room, like control room. Because I got a brother who does that same too, and he works in that he does it in Kansas City. So yeah.
So an
Those type
adjustment
of jobs.
period, so they are still losing their job at the end of the adjustment period?
Hey, it's a give and take. Yeah, that's how it works. It's a give and take.
So what's your
That's how it
solution
does.
for the people that are losing their job?
So well, you gotta find a different job. That's how I believe it. You gotta find a different job. You gotta find
Interesting.
different.
We don't have the jobs available on the market. The only reason
Correct.
why our unemployment rate ticked down from 4.3% to 4.2% is not that less people are unemployed. It's because less people have confidence in the job market and have stopped reporting that they're
Correct. Yeah.
looking for a job because of all of the ghost jobs that you can find on places like Indeed or LinkedIn.
Right. So, and that's just like, and then it's been like that for years. There's been like small percentage of improvement on the unemployment market. So, and it ties into everything, but I say, and people are going to say that there's a lot more jobs out there. And then like other people I've heard say there's a lot of jobs out there.
Well,
No
that's
one's just
what
not
you
taking them.
just did. So what's the solution? If we don't have the jobs out there, we can tell because our job market is stagnant. We are not adding jobs. We've lost jobs overall. Right now, Donald Trump is at a net negative in jobs. So what is the solution for everyone that is losing their job due to AI integration? You can't just say get a job because we already know that we are at a net negative in our job market right now. Oh. I assume that he didn't really hang up. I assume that he had another call to take because I heard the phone buzzing, but he is no longer there. So I'm not going to call that a runaway. I assume that he just had to go because somebody was calling him. So, all right, let's see. Yes, that was definitely torture for TikTok not tapping the screen. I'm just kidding. It was just because I like having peaceful conversations that are calm. He was boring, but I like calm conversations. That's possible, Dean. That's so possible. Someone said, yeah, that's probably true. Rose says the Republican solution is fuck off and die. Well, I mean, Tom Homans is comply or die, so y'all are going on with that. When Skynet becomes self-aware, that's true. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. How old are you for terms of service?
34.
Okay. You're still supporting Donald Trump?
I am.
Why?
I was actually calling because current event today with the Fauci COVID stuff.
Yeah,
didn't
I
know if
don't
you had a
care.
minute
He
to
pled the
talk
fifth.
about
He gave
that.
you no answers. Congress members on both sides lied about what they were saying. Studies don't prove anything that fucking Senator Johnson was saying. So I truly don't give two fucks. Ashley Moody lied her ass off, so fuck her. The other one, Ernst, also lied her ass off. Don't care. They want to do something to try to get Fauci for pleading the fifth. Feel free. I don't give a shit about that, man. Fuck all the way off. Dude's gonna die in 20 years anyways? He's old. Let him. I don't care. I'm sorry you've been lied to.
I can appreciate your candor. Well, I guess we were all kind of lied to, right? I didn't know if you, at the time during COVID, it was a very confusing time. I wasn't sure if you kind of went down that route with vaccination, or if you stayed clear from it, or kind of what your thoughts were on, hindsight obviously being 2020 now. That was a Democratic push, as was BLM, in my opinion, during that time, and both seem
C-19,
to
Operation Warp
have
Speed, when
kind
did that
of
occur?
really dismantled over
What
the
is
last
Operation
year
Warp
or
Speed?
so. I'm sorry, I just asked you a question.
What is Operation Warp Speed?
Does that have something to do with the questions I asked?
I didn't even hear your question. What is Operation Warp Speed?
Not sure what that has to do with what I asked.
Again, I didn't hear the question. What is Operation Warp Speed?
For the relevance of the conversation, I'm not sure what Operation Warp Speed is, but
To the relevance of the conversation and talking about C-19, that's absolutely relevant to the conversation. You just blamed the entire vaccination process on the Democratic Party when Operation Warp Speed, which is what removed all of the FDA all the FDA roadblocks to a new vaccine being put on the market, and the rollout of the Moderna, the Pfizer, and the Johnson & Johnson vaccines, that was all done under Trump. Fuck off, my guy. Like, you're that dumb? The vaccine was pushed out under Trump. Literally pushed out under Trump. Do I agree with the fact that Joe Biden tried to make an executive order mandating everybody get the vaccination? Absolutely the fuck not. And guess what? It was shot down by the courts. Our court systems. Do I care? Here's another one. Do I give a fuck about the fact that soldiers got kicked out of the military for not getting a vaccination? No, I don't. You think that soldiers didn't use not getting the vaccination to get out of the job because it turned out to not be what they signed up for? They did. Okay? My dad is a 24-year Army veteran. My mom and my stepmom are both Army veterans as well. And they said, yeah, they should have gotten the fucking vaccine. By the way, they all voted for Trump. And they know what I do. When you're in the military, you get every vaccination known to man that's relevant to the United States. When you are deployed, you get every vaccination that could possibly come your way, including stuff that is technically considered a dead disease. Bro, like, fuck all the way off with your fucking vaccine bullshit. Stop being goddamn weirdos. Yeah, hold on, Crow.
Oh, I actually get a rare invite. This is crazy.
Yeah. I want you to yell at the dumb idiot in the TikTok chat, PJK, that says
Hey.
that we're lying about vaccinations and military members.
So I have gotten vaccinations for deployments I didn't even go on because my unit was going on them, and that means everybody got them. We got to stand nut to butt, roll up our sleeve, and get the damn vaccination. Failure to not get the vaccination in any fucking other scenario is considered failure to obey a lawful order. And as we've seen throughout history with Don't Ask, Don't Tell, shit, there was literally an entire character about it in the show MASH. If you give soldiers an emergency fucking exit from the military, there is a chunk of those motherfuckers that will take that. And why do we know that this was, they just took the escape hatch? When Trump said, hey, everybody that got kicked out for coming back, for not taking the vaccine, you can come back in with no issue. What happened? Next to none of them returned.
I think it was less than 1% even tried to return.
Correct, because if you give soldiers an escape hatch, there's a chunk of them that will fucking take it.
Yeah, so to be clear, like 80,000 armed service members got kicked out of the United States Armed Forces for not getting the jab, the vax, whatever you want to call it. So 1% would be 800. 800 people didn't try to re-enlist. Ooh, thank you. Thank you,
Like
Nicklin.
we saw this if you go back and look at military history, when Don't Ask Don't Tell came in the service, there's a large chunk of dudes that just decided to be fake gay with their buddies to get the fuck out. Vietnam era, same thing. Literally, dudes would pretend to get crazy to get out to the point that they literally based a character on this concept in MASH. Like Klinger and MASH, his entire concept is he's trying to get chaptered out of the military by pretending he's crazy because this was such a common thing to do that they made an entire TV trope about it.
Yep, and then if, as somebody also points out, like Hegseth ended the mandatory flu vaccine, which by the way, I don't get a flu vaccine, so we'll just put that out there. But ended the mandatory flu vaccine, and what do you know? The next thing we see is an influenza outbreak in San Antonio. Good job, Hegseth. You're doing great. We're infecting our military
I
members.
think my favorite thing to do with Pete Hegseth is watch him do PT. Like, nothing brings me more joy than watching him not ever. I've never seen the man complete a rep of anything ever.
What? You're not even, so Hegseth, when he does a pull-up, he kicks out his legs. You're not supposed to do that.
Somebody corrected me on my TV stuff. MASH was Korea. That's my bad. Sorry. You're right. I got the war the show was about wrong. My point still stands. Klinger was a TV trope about dudes that pretended to be crazy to get out of the military.
That's it. Oh, yeah, that comment should be loud. Okay. I have one more caller. You can stay up here if you want. I don't care. I'm so down.
Okay.
Hi, how are you?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can. How old are you?
Hello. Hello.
What is your age for terms of service?
43.
Okay, and you're still supporting Trump?
Yes.
Why?
So to give some background.
I don't need it.
Lifelong
Just give me the
Democratic-
why.
This is the why, because I'm a lifelong Democratic voter. The why is actually phone banked and donated to Bernie Sanders for 20 years of my life. I have every piece of merchandise. I've been to his rallies. I'm a huge supporter of Bernie Sanders until I wasn't. And the reason is kind of like the policies that are sitting on the progressive left have turned into unachievable. And as much as I find some of
What
the things
policy?
well, I agree with many of them. I
No,
want
what
them.
policy is unachievable?
So, for example, in order to have some sort of universal basic income for everyone,
What
I feel
what Democrat has ever introduced a bill into Congress that is in support of
UBI
UBI?
UBI has actually been a supported concept throughout their campaigns. It doesn't have to be something that's been passed through Congress. It's
I didn't say
literally
passed, I
campaign
said
promises.
introduced. I said introduced. There is a specific difference to
introduced
there. Yeah. So where
through
have they ever
but
introduced it into Congress?
I don't agree with the standard that you make as a bar for it
That
to
sucks
be
for
a
you.
why does it have to be introduced to Congress for it to be something that a platform exists
Because
on?
you can
There's a
say
platform.
something all you want, but that doesn't mean you're actually doing the work to do it. Fine. What
Right, then that can also
Democratic
apply to Trump.
candidate, sorry, what Democratic Congress member right now has ever talked about UBI? What's their name? And I'll pull up their website.
I feel like it's a very small issue. You just asked for an example. I can
Oh,
give
so
you
you
others.
don't have a name
No, I
to
could talk
support
to you
your
about
claim about a Democrat in Congress that supports UBI, which is an unachievable goal in your opinion.
AOC, Ilhan Omar, what is it? His name is the guy from California, Ro Khanna. He talks about it. These are things that they stop talking about so much because they're preoccupied with many other things. And I kind of agree with many of them. Like I said before, for example, as a Trump supporter, am
So-
extremely in support of Medicare for all and college education being free, as well as
As
all
a
of the
Trump
student loans.
supporter?
Correct. I believe, for example, I'll give you the free education, the college education, and the student loans being forgiven. I believe it's a conservative position. It should be a conservative position. Trump should take that
Any idea
and
who I bullied,
actually
Crow? Because
embrace it
TikTok just gave me a
and take
flag, and
that
I think it's
position to the conservative
hilarious.
movement. And it would actually fly really well
Really
with the
me.
conservatives. And I'll tell you why, if you give me a moment.
I'd rather
The
not.
idea
I'd
that
rather
we,
you just actually keep going with the conversation.
what's the conversation then? This is, you
Not
one
you
of the reasons why I
yapping,
moved to
that's
Trump.
for sure. Cool.
What's that?
So it's interesting that you would say that you support Trump because you're also in support of universal health care when that's something that he's staunchly against. That's in direct opposition of what you're saying. It would make sense. That's why I asked for clarification. You're supporting Trump with all of these things. That's why I asked for clarification. I wasn't sure if
Yeah.
you meant
So
that
I'll
you were
tell
talking
you how
about
I moved to.
Bernie. So it doesn't make sense that you've moved to that because it's been, oh God, I've been waiting for Trump's healthcare plan since he started campaigning in 2016, and we have yet to see it. It's been 10 years.
Well, I can tell
Right
you
now,
what
his
happened.
healthcare plan, right now, his healthcare plan is to just give money to the people that there's zero guarantee that they'd actually use it. That's what he
You have to
says, at
understand, you're
least.
talking to someone who championed all of the things you're talking about on the Bernie platform, the progressive.
Sir, you're not a
And I
Bernie
am
bro.
literally,
You're just a
I can
fake
guarantee
person.
you.
You're not a real
No, I could
person.
guarantee.
It's
What is
always
the
weird
maximum
'cause, like, I
contribution
hear this like all the
Social
time,
Security number
dudes
can
that,
make?
that said they voted for Bernie and then voted for Trump. I'm like, yes, I too supported Bernie, and somebody who supported unions, somebody that supports Medicare for all, somebody that supports higher wages, somebody that supports controlling housing costs, and then vote for somebody that wants to do exactly the opposite of all of them. This is a
You
this is a
wanna,
Yeah,
this
it's
is a rational
insane.
this is a
you have to wanna,
rational this is
you
a
have to wanna
rational
listen.
thought to
It
me.
also just like blows my mind that people say that these things are unachievable,
You haven't listened.
specifically like UBI, right? Because I want to remind people that there are countries that engage in UBI, like the Nordic
Yes, they are.
countries engage with UBI. So it's actually not an impossible concept, nor is it unachievable because it happens in other countries. So if
Right.
for it to be unachievable, it would have never been able to happen in another country. And we know that according to our GDP, the United States of America is the richest country. So
Right.
we absolutely have, in theory, the means to engage in UBI, to engage in universal health care, to engage in free public school for, we'll just say free public colleges. And yet
Mhm.
you voted like,
How could you understand why I'm voting for Trump if you haven't listened to, more
I
than
don't
30
care why
seconds of
you
me talk?
voted for him. We're in the year
Well, no, you.
2026.
So you're here to have a conversation with people, aren't
About
you?
why you still
And
support him, and I haven't heard anything for why you still support him.
you haven't
Here's
let
what
me
you
have
did.
more than.
No, because here, I'll start you off, Brad. Because when I asked you why you still support Trump, you went, well, because the Democratic Party, right?
I
No,
didn't say
nothing
that.
about Donald Trump, right? It was because
You
the
haven't told.
Democratic Party is pushing ideas that are
I didn't say that. You haven't.
unachievable. So
You
what
have this
has
on YouTube.
Donald
You
Trump
could go back.
done to earn your continued support?
You could go back and look at the recording of this. I didn't say that.
What you did? What has Donald Trump done
Okay.
to earn your continued support?
Okay. So here's what happened. That there was a pivotal moment that I switched from
I
Brad
don't
walking
care
my
about
dog.
you switching. Please
That's what
keep
he
up with
did.
the
It's what he did.
conversation. What
It is
has
what he
Donald
did.
Trump done to earn your continued support?
It is what he
2026.
did. It is what he did that had got me support. He got my support. It is because he has been the only president in my lifetime, probably even before my lifetime, who has vehemently supported Israel more than any other president before.
Oh, you're just a Zionist. Fuck out of here. I'm glad you support genocide, you piece of shit.
Now you see where the conversation goes.
Yeah, because you're a disgusting human being and I don't give a fuck, dude. I ended it. I'm done. Like, oh, you're a Zionist. You support genocide. Go the fuck out.
So
Like,
hold on. Eradicating people on the other side of the world was more important to you than the rights of LGBT people, the rights of migrants, workers' rights, poor people being able to eat food and see doctors. You hate fucking people on the other side of the world so much you would nuke your own country just to harm them. I want you to sit in that fucking fact for a minute.
that's a good point. I like that one. I'll have to try to remember that one, Crow. You might have to type it out to me. So, like, that is something that's just absolutely bonkers. We'll just say you don't care about humans in the United States of America. You don't care about your fellow citizens enough because you hate somebody else all the way in the other side of the world. Yeah.
People you will never meet on the opposite side of the planet, their existence bothers you so much you would light your own country on fire to harm them.
which I'm already restricted anyways on TikTok, so I think I'll try to play this video real quick. Let me find it. I have it. It's not like anything crazy. It's just something that I saw, which I thought was funny. I assume you guys know what like what's it called when some like the Jewish individuals that really follow their religion and they grow like the men grow like long hair and everything.
Orthodox. You're talking about orthodoxy.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. For a moment I questioned myself and thought I was wrong that that's what they were called. I don't know why I questioned myself because I had this conversation yesterday. Orthodox Jews, right? So I'm just gonna. I want you guys to Hasidic. Okay.
So there's
Maybe.
there's nuance to it. There's two different groups that do it. There's Orthodox, and then there's also Hasidic.
Okay. So this is a crowd of Orthodox Jewish protesters protesting what's happening in Gaza and Palestine. And you'll see the blonde woman screaming at them. So I just want you guys to listen up.
We come from Israel. Our people come from Israel. You have come your people.
Zionism is a political movement which is causing bloodshed.
That's where our families from.
So if you guys couldn't hear him, he said Zionism is a political movement that is causing bloodshed. The blonde woman is saying, we're from Israel. We should support them, right? Just complete loyalty to the state.
I'm from Israel. How did you hold that flag?
This is because the actions of the Zionist people, they are responsible for bloodshed.
That's our ancestors.
We lived in a beautiful peace. We lived in a beautiful peace with Palestinian people for hundreds of years.
We've lived in beautiful peace with Palestinian people for hundreds of years. Okay. I know it's hard to hear, so that's why I'm pausing and and then immediately turns into saying you're not Jewish because you're saying that the countries lived in peace together, which is not necessarily true. They truly did not. Especially after especially after the 1940s, but anyways. And he's just now correcting her on this.
Dare you?
When Zionism came in, they caused bloodshed. They caused rivers of bloodshed.
When Zionism came in, they caused destruction. They caused rivers of bloodshed.
How can you say that you're Jewish? How can you shame your own people?
Who is our Jew?
We're Jews.
He was against.
And someone's clarifying for her that everybody in that crowd right there where they're at is Jewish.
What?
We're all Jews here. Right?
Yeah, so how are they saying that?
Because they believe in God.
And she's asking why are they saying the things that they're saying? And they're replying with, because they believe in God. Yeah, I know, Brett, it is Jewish people, but I'm just reiterating what they're saying because I don't really like that.
Genocide. I don't want that.
That's our country.
That is our country like that.
That is our country. How dare you say that about our own people? What's wrong with you?
She's like on the verge of tears. So, and this is like a pretty long video. That's about halfway through, so we'll end it there. But she ends up walking away. She apparently walked into this crowd with people to start screaming at them with a kid in with the basket. And one of the women in the crowd walks up and is like, hey, you should probably leave because you don't want that in front of your kid, which I agree, right? Like a kid in a stroller probably should not be in a crowd. That's very easy for a stroller to get knocked over by other people if any kind of fight stop. Like, yeah, move your stroller out of the crowd. But yeah. No. Okay, that was funny. Somebody says this. I'm going to reply to this real quick. What is the point of this? To translate English to English? Are you... Okay, no. It's because they were screaming, and I've listened to this video multiple times, so I know what they're saying, and I've listened to it with subtitles. That didn't have subtitles on it. So because they were screaming at each other, you're like the one person that's unhappy that I was explaining what was being screamed at each other. But hey, it was chaotic, and it's easier to explain it that way. All right, let's see. Hold on. There's a few things to get through today. I had fun conversation about illegal immigrants, and they insisted that they don't pay taxes and ignored proof saying they wouldn't out themselves. Yeah, it's because they don't know. They don't know channel. Also, guys, if you're new here, if you haven't hit that follow or that subscribe button yet, hit that button now. What's up, Crow?
And on this topic, like, people only learned about sanctuary cities like 4 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
people don't understand that sanctuary city is a new term for an old thing. Like, I'm very open about this. I live in Allentown, Pennsylvania. When I first started hearing the discussion on sanctuary cities, I'm that nerd. I actually went to the library and went to the microfiche room. Like, the old with the clicky clacks and the knobs and everything. Went to the microfiche room and dug through old newspapers to find out that my city first voted to become what was called a safe haven city in 1978. Safe haven cities are what sanctuary cities used to be called, which means my city has been a sanctuary city for 6 years longer than I have been alive. Y'all just learned about them the other day.
Thanks, Crow. And it's also like they don't care. They just pretend to care about immigration. They don't know what sanctuary cities do. They don't know how they actually operate. Any of those things. My bad. I don't have anything to say. Just want to support my progressive sister in Christ. Ha ha ha. Keep up the great work. Yeah. So there you go. Let's see. I would encourage all people to seek gainful employment to the best of their ability and seek self-sufficiency. I also think many people need assistance for a season until they get there, however long that season is. Exactly. If you can work, I would encourage you to be able to work always. But if you're in a moment where you need assistance, I don't see the reason of stripping that from you. Thank you guys for all the jewels. This was 2 buckets. Like the second caller, I think. If he is going to bring up slavery, then as an excuse for not having food as basic requirement, then why does America have a prison system that is literally a slave system? It's in the verbiage of the 13th Amendment. That slavery is legal as long as it's in servitude as a response to dealing with, having committed a crime. Which also, I think I missed this. Thank you, Adolphus, and thank you, Alexa, for the Venmos as well. Dealing with men and listening while gardening. That's always fun. I think Crow's doing a different kind of gardening, though.
No, I'm not.
Oh,
I don't
sound like maybe you're
there. I'm like the most sober person you've ever met. My brain's just like this.
Oh, okay. Clayton, I hope you're still here. Clayton sent me $1, said thanks for letting me call. Sorry for the stutter. I don't care that anybody has a stutter. Thank you for calling. Oh, there you are. Oh, that's you. Okay. Yeah, I don't mind stutters. So, yeah, people get nervous, people have speech impediments, anything like that. Like that's just normal to me. And there's nothing wrong with being nervous, so I'm glad you're still here. For the kitty, thank you. I appreciate it. All of the jewels. Okay. I think I genuinely heard him say in there, a ham and cheese was a good dinner. What year is he from that ham and cheese is considered a gourmet meal? Were you here for that conversation, Crow? I don't think so. That was so funny. $15 gourmet meal. No exit has happened. All right. I feel like I'm crazy when I get incest. Oh, yes. I did read that out, Calvary. Thank you for that as well. W to everybody that sent donations, no matter how big, no matter how small. Indigo, thank you as well, or Inigo. If you guys are new here, be sure, like I said, to hit that follow, hit that subscribe button. Let me see. Trying to find something here. Guys, don't leave just yet. Stay around for a moment.
I'm actually excited for Steve's tour because he's going to be coming down through my area, and we're going to do an entire thing. Because if you're not familiar with the Lehigh Valley, the area I live in, we actually went through one of the most economic depressions in the country when Bethlehem Steel closed down in the 80s. And it was because of our migrant population that we became one of the fastest and strongest economic booms in the country. Like, we're now the #2 place for high-earners to move to. So when Steve does his tour, he's going to come down here, and I'm just going to take him around the area and show him what, like, migrants bring to a community. Because my area, 50% of the city is Hispanic. And that's before I get into little Syria on the other side of town. That's before I get into the Jamaican communities. That's before I get into all the other migrant communities in my area. So I have been talking to Steve when he goes on his tour about, like, just spending a day where I show him the stores, I show him the people, I show him the culture. That way we can put a sanctuary city, like, on everybody's screen, so that it's no longer this idea of something over there. It's like what they see, what it actually is.
Yeah. What did somebody was yelling at me to answer. I'm like, what am I supposed to answer? The lines are closed also. So if you're trying to call, you're getting a busy tone. I know it because I turned them off. So, I mean, there's all of that. Your frequently used emoji section tonight, Dean. That's cool. I hate when I open up my phone and it just automatically goes to stuff. Okay. I think that means so-and-so. Hold on. I see there. You guys are going to go on TikTok to one of my favorite people. But hold on. I'm looking to see. Why are you not on there yet? I got to keep y'all here for a moment. Okay. So, hey, Crow, did you see the polling, the recent polling?
No, I have not.
Okay, let me see. Where is it? Oh, there it is. We'll show everyone else. Because like I said, I'm already restricted, so I don't really care. TikTok sucks.
Disapprove of the handling of this conflict. The clock is ticking for President Trump to get out of this war before voters head to the polls. It's making a lot of Republicans nervous. It's already, as we know, unpopular.
The truth is there's not much good news for Republicans. Underwater on the economy, as you showed, underwater on affordability. Those two issues are front and center for sure. Everywhere you look, Republicans are down. He promised to keep us out of endless wars or unsatisfactory wars. And now he's in one, and it's not at all clear how it's going to end. So he's vulnerable on this point. And I was in political terms, he does need to get this over with. But what he may need is time, and he doesn't have a lot of time.
69% of Americans disapprove of the...
Man,
Nice.
that's gotta hurt. Even when
Nice.
Fox News says that your approval is in the shitter. That's gotta hurt so bad.
It's the obligatory. His disapproval rating is 69%. Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Guys, I'm so mean. Okay. Guys over on YouTube, over on Twitch. Yes, that is Crow Yummy. If you guys are watching over on YouTube, you guys are about ready to get sent to Polypolitics. Be sure when